Kriana Fantasy drops you into the world of the Royal Kriana Academy. It's this wildly popular dating action RPG where every move you make can completely flip the storyline on the fly. You can either dive headfirst into the Academy's brutal, heart-pounding battle system, or you can ignore all of that and focus on. You can romance the Academy's heroines, and the game basically hands you freedom on a silver platter with tons of different ending paths depending on your choices. But there's one character who never ever moves, always blocking the player's path like it's her job, and that's Alba Oresia, the Duke's own son. He's a powerhouse of a womanizer, arrogant, shameless, and quick to snap, so deadly and ruthless that everyone's calling him the ultimate villain, the one who's destined to clash with the game's protagonist. Meanwhile, deep in the mountains, a young man bursts out of a cabin clutching a hoe, ready to start farming. Meet Alba Oresia, the Duke's delinquent son who's vanished from society and now lives alone up in the mountains. The whole place feels calm and alive. Birds are chirping. Rivers keep rushing, and animals shout into the wild like they're calling you closer. Alba starts his day by plowing the fields, and as the soil turns, a memory hits him, unveiling the kind of big secret that changes everything. Turns out he's not really Alba. Someone else got reincarnated into this body 3 years ago. 3 years before at Dukaresh's mansion. After reincarnating, the protagonist snaps awake trapped inside Alba's body. Right then, he could barely make sense of where he was or even who he was staring at him in the mirror. But then little by little memories start snapping back, and suddenly he remembers a specific game. It's a wild youth fantasy game set inside the legendary Kriana Royal Academy. That's where one villain never stops butting heads with the protagonist, and yep, it's Alba. In one route, she even snatches a heroine right out of his hands to turn her into her own rivalry. In another timeline, corruption swallows him whole, and he turns into the Academy's destroyer. No matter which path Alba takes, fate is already screaming that she'll become the ultimate villain. To make it even worse, the protagonist's memory of the game is busted. He never cleared every route, so the picture is missing pieces, but he still remembers Alba crystal clear because she shows up again and again, and she's painfully relentless every single time. Staring into Alba's reflection, he freezes in shock, wondering could he really have been reincarnated as Alba? And still, the biggest hit isn't his confusion. It's one crushing thought that takes over his entire mind. Alba's death is locked in. There's no way out. His end will come in one of two brutal ways: a showdown duel with the protagonist for a heroine, or the protagonist tearing him down to punish every dark deed he's done. No matter which route you pick or which choices you make, Alba's death flag is coming. There's no dodging it. He won't sit back and swallow his fate or die helpless until he finally figures out why he was reincarnated in the first place. Even though he can't see a way to twist fate, he steels himself and goes all in on the only move that makes sense right now. Escape his fate for good until the cops storm in and his room is found stripped clean, empty, and every last valuable gone. The maids wasted no time and rushed to the Duke, then fury erupted when he heard the name yells Alba. But Alba is dead sure if he wants to dodge that destined end, he has to run, and he has to run now. He thinks if he sells every valuable thing he grabbed, he'll finally stay afloat, slip into the quiet countryside, and put distance between himself and the doom that was once hunting him. Right now, 3 years have passed since that day. After he ran, the first thing he did was collapse and die, then cut his hair short. After that, he grabbed a little cottage up in the mountains and started over. Yeah, it's a bit rough compared to his old life, but he's finally kicked back tilling the fields in the sunshine and reading when the rain rolls in, and the best part, he's still alive. Right then, someone bursts out of the house and blurts out an apology over sleeping. They swear it was an accident. Right then, Alba's mind snaps back. This world's goddess of destiny doesn't play fair, and she won't let him slip away. He straightens up and greets the girl with a bright, "Good morning," calling her Celia, and then she giggles right back at his greeting, and boom, meet Celia Margaret, one of the game's biggest potential love interests. She tells him a letter has arrived and he immediately thinks it's about his debt, so he waves her off and orders her to just eat it. She shoots back, "I'm not a goat," and Alba bursts into laughter. He pats her head and blurts out an apology, and her face lights up like the world just got better, because deep down, he knows his own plan says he's not supposed to get tangled up with her. Because she's the kind of person who could guide him straight into his death flag. Celia is a saintess blessed by the goddess rare, famous, and untouchable, mastering healing magic like a legend, while somehow seeing disasters before they ever hit. You're probably asking, why is the saintess even tangled up with him? And it all goes back 6 months ago, when he was living alone and still figuring out how to survive in this world. Because this is the very same world as the game. He already knows the vegetables, so farming starts with zero struggle, and he's honestly grateful for it. For now, he figures Alba's family hasn't kicked off the search yet, which is a huge relief, because the moment they do, he's going to be drowning in worry. But the moment he arrived, the townsfolk treated him like he was already dead. And because his family doesn't even shut those rumors down, Alba can't shake the feeling that they hated him just as badly. He shakes it off, barely thinks twice, and stretches right as the harvest ends. Then, from far away, a strange noise cuts through the air, and his gut instantly wonders, was that scream? Turns out the carriage gets ambushed, and inside it, the saintess is trapped right in the middle of the attack. While the guard orders the saintess to flee, the guard is cut down in a flash. They don't spare him, every other one gets wiped out too, and only the saintess remains standing. Cornered at last, she shakes as an assassin raises a dagger to her throat, begging them, "You can't do this." One of the assassins snaps closer out of nowhere and slams into her with an attack. Right before the assassin could lay a hand on her, a flash of lightning tore through the space between them and blasted the attacker flying away. It jolts the saintess and every assassin too, because it all erupts so fast they barely get to react. The lightning reveals Alba, and he blurts out that he doesn't understand what's happening, but no one is going to make the girls cry. When he spins around to face the saintess, his heart drops. Her face looks shockingly familiar. As he scrambles to remember where he's seen her, it hits him fast. She's one of the heroines. He's crushed to the core because she's one of the main characters, and in his world that means his death flag is basically screaming. And even though he sequestered himself deep in the mountains to dodge every main character, she still found a way into his life. After what happened, he's convinced the goddess of destiny won't let Alba slip out of his grasp and dodge his fate, because that favor feels anything but welcome to him. Right as he starts weighing his next move, assassins surge from the shadows behind him and strike. Terrified, the saintess shrieks at the top of her lungs, "Alba, run!" Right then, he snaps his power into the air, lightning flashing, and swats them away like it's nothing, saying once contact's already been made, there's no stopping it. The saintess is left reeling as Alba tears through every assassin in one blazing blue flash. Ever since he locked himself in the mountains, he hammered away at training day after day, determined to master this world's magic and learn how to wield it with his own hands. And that's how he wipes out the assassins with terrifying ease, yet even knowing it's a game world, guilt still claws at him every time he has to kill. Realizing he could end up just like them someday, he snaps into action and swears he'll outrun his fate. No matter what kind of death comes for him, he'll fight it with everything he's got. After a quick pause, he whips around to the saintess and demands, "Are you all right?" Even though he asked, he already knows she's not fully gone because all her guards haven't been wiped out yet, so he breaks down, apologizing for failing to save her companions. She drops to her knees and breaks into tears, confessing she can't take this anymore. She admits she understands the saintess's duty. She has to cross the land on pilgrimage, but every step she takes, someone is hunting her. Alba spots it in her own reaction. She just realized today's incident is the one that finally broke the camel's back. She leans in and tells you the saintess isn't just important. She's second only to the Pope, holding the Church of the Goddess's power right under him. So now she's a non-stop target. People keep striking her, trying to snatch her power or wipe her out before she ruins their plans. Every time innocent people are forced to die just to shield her, she finally breaks. She can't stomach what she's seeing anymore. Alba thinks, if I'd seen this on a game screen, I'd just label it as her backstory. But the moment this young girl is crying right in front of him, he's left with no choice. This is real life, and those tears aren't just pixels on some screen. Tears spill down her cheeks as the saintess begs herself to stop living in fear and finally just live a normal life. After a brief pause, Alba softly strokes her head, then drops into a crouch. With a warm smile and zero hesitation, he leans in and asks if she'll come over to his place right as the words land. She jolts still and stares at him, completely stunned. And just like that, it hits him this kind of invitation, dropped so fast, would shock anyone. Still, the words fly out of his mouth before he even thinks, because he's not talking to some dumb game NPC. He's speaking to a real person, just like him. He tells her, "I don't fully get what you're going through, but I can see the grind you've been putting in, so you deserve to finally rest." Being able to finally rest, smile, and breathe without working yourself to tears matters way more. So if her destiny is trying to break her down into tears, he tells her to just run. No hesitation, no surrender. Alba gets it. This girl wants to rebel against her fate the same way he did. He shoots out his hand and tells her, "If you've got nowhere to run, run with me." She beams and takes it without hesitation, yanking his hand as she agrees to follow Alba. Just knows she shouldn't get anywhere near a girl tied to his death flag. But he can't stop himself from imagining this anything, as long as it ends with her smiling, not crying. 6 months later, and he's finally staring at her smile, one that fits her way better than any tears ever could. Just like that, Celia snapped back into her bright mood, fired off a letter to her dad, the Pope, and today, his reply finally dropped into her hands. Right as Alba asks what the letter says, she snaps into action and suddenly engulfs him in a tight hug. She leans in and softly asks him to stay with her, and he just laughs it off, sending Celia reeling in pure confusion. Then he leans in and vows, "Of course I have to. After all, he's the one who pulled her back, so from that moment on, it's on him to protect her all the way to the end." Breathless with joy, she yanks him into another hug and spills out just how happy she is. Alba is pretty sure she'll need him to drive her to the church where her father is, and because this mess is his fault for making her run, she knows he won't dodge punishment that easily. Celia then flashes an image at him and tells him, "Come on, we're going together to that place." He freezes when he realizes the picture isn't some random clue at all. It's a pamphlet for Kriana Academy, the exact world the game is set in. For Alba, that spot screams, "Executioner's block," spilling death flags like it's contagious, and he's vowed to himself he'll never get anywhere near it. But Fate's goddess isn't letting him off the hook. Celia steps in and says her father urged her to enroll in the academy if she wants a shot at a normal life, and if Alba tags along with her, it'll be the greatest school life imaginable. Alba flashes a warm smile at that, but deep down, he refuses to step foot in that place. He's done everything he can to dodge Kriana Academy and the game's main characters, so he's been hiding up in the mountains, trying to live in peace. But no matter how hard he fights it, he still ends up walking right into it because when they finally arrive in front of the academy, Celia tells him, "Look how huge it is." And he panics for a second, then nervously nods, agreeing. She clocks the unease right away. "You okay? You look pale as a ghost." And he just brushes it off, saying it's only a little carriage sickness. Hearing that, she scoops him up and hands him a lap pillow to rest on. Alba shoots her a shaky thank you for the offer and turns it down, and even though he's only here because of Celia, he doesn't hold it against her. She has no idea what death flags are about to slam into him the moment he steps into the academy, or that they're all tied directly to the game's heroines, including her. So tell me, why did he agree to come to this academy with her in the first place? To figure it out, you've got to rewind to when Celia started getting letters from her father, and right there was one, stamped and sealed for Alba. Right in the heart of the letter, Celia's father is revealed as the founder of the world's mightiest religion, the goddess church, where his power and authority stand shoulder to shoulder with the king of Kriana. Because he's been hiding his daughter Celia from the mess brewing around them, he can't shake the fear that this letter will come with a furious warning or a straight-up threat. When he cracks open the letter and reads just a few lines, surprise hits him hard. It's packed with non-stop apologies and overflowing gratitude. In the letter, Celia's father makes it crystal clear she isn't a saintess just because she's his daughter. She earned it by receiving the goddess's grace, born with miracle-level power. The instant she was born, destiny locked in her path, and she threw her whole heart into the goddess's teachings. So the moment she finally snaps into awareness of her world, she sprints straight to everyone who believes in the goddess. No matter how brutal the journey got, she fought through every peril to save stray sheep, guided by the goddess's own power. She never once complained, she just kept doing what she had to do, no excuses. When he questioned her, she always answered with a bright smile that this was her duty as the saintess and man. He felt his heart swell with gratitude, knowing his daughter could say those words like they were pure pride. But now he finally sees it. What a fool he's been for missing how her smile masks the truth of how she really feels. He finally realizes his own daughter is one of those stray sheep, too crying in silence inside, begging for someone to come and save her. The Pope swears Alba didn't just rescue his daughter, he saved her soul too, and that's why gratitude hits him like a tidal wave. Still, Celia remains the saintess, and he remains the founder. And even so, her father is still determined to grant his beloved daughter's wish, help her reach a normal life. So with everything like this, the Pope just shrugs and tells Alba she can go ahead and laugh at this old sinner. When Alba reads it, he stomps out a vow he's not laughing, not even once. When Celia freezes in confusion, he leans in and tells her her father is an amazing man, and she lights up instantly, happily agreeing. He keeps going, diving into the moment the Pope says he wants to make a request, right? As Alba lets out a furious groan when she asks what's wrong, he just keeps reading, refusing to answer. The Pope leans in and asks if Alba can join Celia at Kriana Academy. He paints the academy as a magnet for gifted believers of the goddess, then says nothing on earth can top what the Royal Academy teaches. As Alba reads it, she tells Celia her father wants him to go with her to Kriana Academy, and the Pope is convinced that if Celia steps through those gates, she'll finally get the life she's been dreaming of. He says his mind would finally feel at ease if someone as unstoppable as Alba stayed right beside him after she wiped out the assassins all by herself. He's also convinced Celia wants to stay close to him, too, so when Alba's face twists with worry, Celia steps in and tells him it's totally okay. With a bright smile, she tells him she's totally fine heading to the academy alone. When Alba sees that smile, everything clicks. She finally realizes how she fooled her father, because that grin masks her real intentions perfectly. Then he tells Celia, right to her face, that the academy is a bloodbath in the making full of people who are pure trouble, itching to use their power and stomp on whoever gets in their way, and it completely throws Celia off. As Alba keeps talking loud and fast, insisting that because the academy is run by the country, she's safe and nothing like her pilgrimages will happen again, she still can't ignore the truth. Creepy, nasty men are out there, dying to lay their hands on a cute girl like her. Still totally lost, Alba blurts out, "Do you still want to go?" as loud as she can. She's like, "I know a ton of people will want to be my friends too." Alba snaps at her, warning that studies she doesn't even care about will swallow every last drop of her free time. And Celia grins back because the only thing she's studied before is the Bible. So for her, this actually sounds exciting. He tells her that this unfamiliar place could drain her energy, but Celia grins and says she's pumped to explore somewhere new Right after that, they share matching smiles. Then, after a quick pause, Alba leans in and says they're going together. That thought hits her like sunshine, and she lunges into a hug. Alba knows he's got to stay clear of the academy and this girl, but he's already decided to go full rebel and crush every death flag coming his way, because in his eyes, Celia looks way better with a smile than with a sad frown. She blurts out how grateful she is for the goddess's guidance, and that's when Alba snaps, because her goddess is steering him straight toward his death. Now that he replays it in his head, he can't stop wondering, was it the goddess herself who dragged him into this world in the first place? As he spirals into his thoughts, he spots another message scribbled on the letter and groans all over again. Celia catches it and blurts out, "So did you change your mind about the academy?" He freezes up, awkwardly shakes his head, and admits handsome nerves and all that he's actually really looking forward to it. He reacts that way because of the last wish her father wrote one rule carved in stone: he'd better never, ever make his daughter cry. So yeah, just like that, he had no choice but to haul himself to the academy with Celia by his side. As soon as they step out of the carriage and head toward the academy, both of them freeze because the building is absolutely massive. Through the screen, Alba realizes it's way more intimidating than he'd ever imagined. Then he spots a row of statues along the path to the academy building. Celia points out that these aren't just statues, they're the goddess carved in stone, and the holy beast that guards the maiden the hero came to protect. When she asks if he doesn't think they're wonderful, Alba gets this prickly feeling that each one is linked to some different moment in the game. He just can't remember which. Right then, he tells her, "Just call me Al when we're at the academy." She panics, blurts out an apology for forgetting, and immediately calls him Al instead. Celia's father hands him a new disguise, Al, the Holy Knight Apprentice, so he can dodge those brutal death flags and stay alive without exposing his real identity. Celia can't believe it when she finds out he fled from his own family, and they've been calling him dead ever since. She tells him that if anything goes wrong with his family, her dad will crush every problem that dares to show up right under his thumb, and that's when Alba finally realizes how terrifying her father's power really is. Even with his help, he's determined to dodge every single person tied to his death flags, no matter what. Rage crawls up his spine as he realizes his memory of the game is a total blur. Then he hears a bunch of people screaming like something's about to go down. Turns out they've already clocked Celia, and the moment they spot the saintess here, their faces go wide with shock because, before she can even react, a huge crowd surges in around her and shoves Alba out of the way. That hits him like a punch in the gut, so this is what he should have been fearing the whole time, because Celia isn't just famous, she's a legit superstar in this world. With everyone chanting saintess at her, Celia suddenly starts spiraling into panic. The moment she shuts her eyes and prays for a normal life, lightning tears through the crowd like it has a target. Alba shoots in and hauls Celia away before anyone can blink, then declares it loud. She's not here as the saintess. She's here as a student from Kriana Academy. So he pushes everyone to stop crowding her on impulse and give her space. Even if it's just a title, this Holy Knight Apprentice Alba throws his whole heart into protecting Celia at any cost, and watching his reaction makes her light up with pure joy. The crowd goes dead silent, stunned and totally lost, as Alba snatches Celia away in the blink of an eye. They lock in the conclusion in seconds. His skill screams that he's got to be the long-lost son of some powerful noble family. Peeking from behind the girl, you watch Alba and Celia keep striding straight toward the academy. She looks stunned, but it's not because of Alba's move. She's actually clocking who he is and recognizing him. Once they step into the academy, Celia grabs them by the moment and urges them to sprint to their uniforms before it's too late. But Alba stood there, frozen stiff, trembling with hesitation. Even though he thought he was ready, the moment he stepped inside Kriana Academy hit him like reality check fireworks. The moment Alba Oresia realizes that this exact spot is where his doom awaits, his entire body shakes with terror. Celia clocked it in an instant and snatched his hand right away. She squeezes his nerves and tells him everything's okay, no fear, because she's right there with him. And when he hears that, a smile breaks through as he realizes he's supposed to protect her, but she's the one holding him together. Like a true saintess, she totally soothed him, and he gratefully thanked her. Then she burst into giggles and confessed, "Yeah, I'm nervous too." Inside the main building, they stumble on a huge stained glass window showing the hero and the goddess. While Celia frets over whether it's supposed to scream, "Hero protecting the goddess," Alba can't help staring at it. She's blown away by its sheer size. Celia sits down and starts praying, right as the moment hits. Alba swears she never misses a prayer for anyone, no matter the hour or where they are. But the moment she prays out loud begging the goddess to put her in the same class as Alba, he snaps to the truth that wish isn't for the world at all, it's for her alone. Later, at the uniform distribution table, the teacher tells them they've been assigned to the unicorn class and thrusts their uniforms into their hands. Celia beams because she's finally in class with Alba, and knowing he's right there makes Alba's heart feel just as steady. The old teacher lets out a chuckle and tells them to squeeze every drop out of school life. Celia nods, thanks him, and smiles, while Alba can't shake the feeling this doddery old guy is hiding some secret linked to an event straight out of the game. Ignoring all that, the two finally burst out of the building grinning, thrilled to be classmates. While Alba exhales in relief that the game hasn't triggered anything, Celia practically bursts with excitement about slipping into the uniform. When she blurts out Alba, he snaps back that inside the academy, she has to call him Al, and she immediately apologizes all over again for forgetting. Suddenly, someone lunges in front of them and shouts Alba's real name, blasting both of them with shock. It's that same girl from before she leans in and asks if, even with that totally different hair color, he's really Alba. Spotting that blazing red hair, Alba instantly knows who she is, because this girl is impossible to forget for the real Alba. And her name is Alina, one of the game's romance targets and heroines. And that's not just any girl. She's Alba's childhood friend and his ex-fiancée, one of the biggest death flag triggers tied to his fate. Alina shoots him a sharp question. Why is he here with the saintess? And when Celia spots Alina's troubled look, she rushes in. Are you mixing me up with someone else? She tells him this is her holy knight apprentice, Al also her loyal attendant. Hearing that, Alina bursts out laughing, calling it ridiculous like he just yanked the ba out of Alba to magically birth Al. Celia snaps when she realizes the lie caught up to her, and she blurts out that he's Al not Alba, while Alba is stuck in an awkward run in with someone he knows after sprinting away from home. Then Alina steps in and confirms it. Alba really did run away, and that lands like a punch in his gut. But Celia keeps freaking out, shouting that she's right, and that the Alba who once saved her is somehow Al. And while Al scrambles to shut her up, Alina digs in confirming that Alba ran off, then later met the saintess. And now she openly suspects he's the one who planted the rumor that he died. So when he hears it, Alba forces a calm smile and pretends she has no clue what she's talking about. But Alina snaps her sword free and swings hard only for him to dodge it like it's nothing. She snaps a warning at him if he keeps playing dumb one more second, she'll cut him down. He freezes in shock because the way she just attacked looked deadly serious. Celia blurts out his name, and pure worry hits her face. He snaps, telling her to step back. The sudden commotion explodes, and a crowd rushes in, drawn by the chaos. People start snapping to attention. Alina is from the legendary Persia family, and they can't stop asking why she's hanging around with the man who plays the saintess's attendant. Plowing through the crowd, Alina stalks forward and once again snarls that he isn't Alba Aricia, like she'll stop at nothing to get the truth. Alba realizes he can't charm his way out of this, so he clenches his resolve once he's decided to fight fate with everything he's got. There's no backing down. After a quick pause, he snaps back and insists again that his name is Al. Alina smiles at him and shoots back like, perfect, now engrave this into your body. It. She snaps forward and slashes at him on the spot, spitting that this is the crime and the punishment for what he did to the Persia family. As he twists out of her attack at the last second, he realizes the stakes are insane. Alina is the best swordswoman in the entire game. But what really hits him is this. She wears a heartbreaking, sad face instead of flipping to anger. As she charges in for another strike, he disappears in an instant right before her eyes, leaving her and everyone watching totally stunned. Then he pops back up behind her and orders her to calm down, stunning her even more. Just as Alba whips her sword back in shock, he casually snatches the blade with a single finger to stop it cold blowing away, not only her and Celia, but the whole crowd watching. He makes it look effortless, all because his magic power does the heavy lifting. After he fled home, he stumbled into a stash of spell books that promised the truth fire, water, and wind weren't just elements. They were nature's power itself, and the only way forward was to find the affinity that fit him and fall into harmony with it. With that in his head, he flashes back to the old days when he played. He'd study the enemy's weaknesses before every single fight. He cracks open the book's instructions, locks in his focus, and starts syncing with the world. Then, right as everything clicks, he feels something tiny and impossible creeping past his five senses. By pushing this practice even further, he finally realizes his true gift isn't just power, it's lightning itself. After that, he kept sharpening the feeling again and again, drilling it into focus for years, until he finally masters magic so completely he can use it however he wants effortlessly, on command. Eventually, he learns to turn his body into pure lightning, then blasts across vast distances in the blink of an eye. Now that he can finally pull it off, this power hits him like a lightning strike, totally unreal, and exactly the kind of weapon the strongest villain was born to wield. Right here, in the present, he begs Alina to just hear him out, but she shuts him down hard, swearing she won't tolerate another second of his foolish talk. He rushes to apologize, admitting he knows she still resents Alba, then tells her he's just Al now. The moment she hears it, her whole body trembles with raw emotion, and right as she's about to answer, Alba flashes out of existence again, gone like a punchline that lands instantly. The crowd nearby reels from the fact that he vanishes again. Then their jaws drop even harder when they realize the saintess has disappeared too. With both of them vanished from sight, Alina realizes no way they're still here. They escaped. Tears streak down her cheeks, and a fellow student rushes in to ask if she's okay. She insists she's fine, saying she just has a little dust stuck in her eyes. Meanwhile, Alba bursts straight into the city and thinks, "We're probably far enough now," while Celia can't believe she got swept away like that, so Alba blurts out an apology. He noticed she was pouting at him, like she was ready to start a fight with that face. He asks if she's mad. She snaps back that she isn't. Then she turns the tables and demands who that stunning Alina girl was. Right before he can even open his mouth, Celia blurts out that sure, Alina's got more maturity, a bigger chest, and looks absolutely stunning, but she's not jealous in the slightest. Hearing that, Alba erupted into laughter so hard, Celia instantly blurted, "Why are you laughing?" He shoots back a warm smile, like he already knows she's a terrible liar. "All right," he says, then asks if they're heading to the house his father set up, but Celia shuts it down, and that refusal instantly throws him for a loop. After a quick beat, she tells him, "I'll only go if you carry me the whole way," and he gives in and agrees. From what just happened today, it looks like Alba is about to find out that life at Kriana Academy is trouble from the very first second. Later, right as they step up to the house they've been set up with, both of them freeze because it's insanely huge. As Alba scans the room, Celia spots something, locks eyes with him, and demands, "Look." She points at the vegetable garden and tells her they can grow their own crops here too, just like they always do up in the mountains. Alba can't believe it. This house sits right in the royal capital's core, where people from every corner of the world flood in. Celia's father can't just own a house. He's got a 2-story place with its own garden, and that kind of luxury would cost a fortune. They step inside the house and boom, it's beautifully furnished, with Alba and Celia each getting their own private room upstairs on the second floor. But there's still one thing that needs settling, so Alba pulls Celia aside and asks about it. Celia snaps that she hasn't gotten a single coin. Alba then admits he figured her father must have slipped her some living money with the house. But Celia shuts that down hard. Her father told her that if she wants an ordinary life, she has to earn her own living. Alba can't help but feel relieved because her dad isn't just indulging her. He's actually pushing her to become independent. Celia jumps in and says her father told her the same thing, that he'd hand over money if life ever got too hard for her. So the moment Alba hears it, he snaps out of his earlier doubts and admits, grudgingly, that her dad is still the same too soft pushover. Because money's tight, Alba jumps to find work right away, but Celia stops him and tells him not to bother, because she'll earn everything for both of them. As this throws him for a loop, Celia jumps in and tells him her father already set it up. She's been scheduled to work at the church. The saintess is chosen by the goddess, and drenched in divine power, among it is oracle hearing, a gift that lets her catch the goddess's warnings early and dodge disaster after disaster. Another is healing magic so powerful it erases every wound and sickness, and desperate, aching believers swarm to the saintess, hoping her holy power will save them. Celia pockets a share of the donations these believers just handed over. She grabbed the role out of pure heart, wanting to help everyone, but the truth was darker. She'd been thrown onto brutal pilgrimages since childhood, and it wasn't for noble reasons. He can't shake the feeling that a greedy mastermind cooked it up because every one of her pilgrimages is raking in huge donations for the church. So yeah, Celia's basically watching the saintess turn into a living gold mine, and when he starts scowling, she clocks it right away, leans in, and asks what's wrong. The second he hears her voice, he snaps out of it and blurts, "It's nothing." Then he pushes back and swears he'll help, so she won't have to stress about money, only to dodge into a whole fight, asking why she expects to pay for everything herself, even though she said she'll earn it. Alba snaps that letting the girl do everything while the man plays dead crushes his pride, but Celia fires back, that since they live together, it's totally fine. He flat out tells her to save that kind of devotion for the man who'll be lucky enough to be her future husband. When she hears it, she snaps into action and starts punching Alba while he scrambles, asking why she's doing it. But the moment he finally sees her clearly, he realizes she's already broken down and crying. She storms out, snaps that she's done caring, and tells him to do whatever he wants. Then he asks where she's going, and she answers that she's just going to eat dinner alone. Later, as Alba sprawls on her bed, Alba insists he's said nothing wrong because right now, he's only her companion, and she's already got a real match lined up. Yuri is the real heart of Cryana fantasy, shockingly handsome, and deadly with both sword and magic. Yuri's a real saint, nothing like Alba's villain vibe, and the wild part, every heroine in the game falls for him. Alba's convinced that once this happens, he'll have zero reasons left to stay with Celia, and it's already been 3 whole months since they first met. The moment he brought her to his cabin on that first day, she gasped at how beautiful it was and asked, "Can I really stay here?" Alba leaned in and promised, "Stay as long as you want here. You're not some saintess. You're just a normal girl." A few days later, she jumped into the fields with him, rolling up her sleeves and helping harvest the vegetables. She even jumped into cooking with him, and before long, she knew the Gomon bath he built like it was second nature. At night, they stride side by side through the mountains, framed by a sky full of blazing stars. For the first time in his whole life, Celia standing there made him feel completely, impossibly at peace. So if he says he won't miss her when she's gone, he knows that's a lie yet. If Celia steps forward and lives the life destiny set for her, he'll swallow his feelings and accept it. He tells himself, if this goes down, I'll somehow dodge the death flag too. Moments later, Celia barges in and knocks, then rushes to apologize for what happened earlier. But then he realizes Alba's already dropped off to sleep. She whispers that everything brought her here because of him. Then she tucks him under a sheet and breathes out her gratitude. Later, sunlight spills through the window and birds chirp outside. Alba jolts awake, realizing it's already morning, wondering how he drifted off so fast. Then his eyes lock on something sitting on the table. Celia left him food and a note sorry for yesterday, then a clear message she'd headed to the church to handle her duties. After he reads the note, he shoots her a heartfelt thanks, then freshens up and digs into his burger. He digs into it like it's heavenly, grinning because having something familiar here feels like a gift. Then he realizes it's probably all part of the game world. Since Celia heads to the church to earn money, he decides, without hesitation, to do the same. Later, he bursts into the Adventurers Guild, the kingdom's go between that sorts out requests and hands out quests from every corner. They'll take on anything from quick deliveries to death-defying missions, like hunting down monsters called magic beasts, so your options are always wide open. The ones who dare to take these deadly requests are the tough lot who pack into this place for cold cash and roaring fame. They're called adventurers. In the game Cryana Fantasy, you don't even have to go adventuring to finish the story, but in real life, Alba treats it like a no-brainer, because why not chase danger when it's the fastest way to rake in money? After scanning the quest board, he locks onto a monster job, the gigantic magic beast extermination quest, and goes for it, chasing a jaw-dropping reward of 5 million curia, the currency of this world. Even though he's never squared off against a magic beast, he's still locked in because the power he's forged over the last 3 years makes him feel unstoppable. Then the guard shouted at Alba, telling him he was staring at the 5-star quest board, and there was absolutely no way a fresh newcomer like him could have already hit 5 stars. Hearing that, Alba Jolt's rookie adventurers only get to take those basic 1-star quests. His star rank climbs only when he nails quest after quest and earns his keep for the guild, so he can't chase those massive rewards until he levels up first. He heads straight to the reception area, and a receptionist ushers him in, telling him this right here is the 1-star reception. He starts talking the quest through with her, then straight up asks which kind would fit him best. After she scans the rank 1 board, she hands him a herb collection quest, and he's out of the guild the second it's in his hands. That herb collecting quest pays next to nothing because he's a brand new beginner, but there's no backing out, so he starts small and grinds his way up, 1 rank at a time. Because the carriage ride to the western forest costs a fortune, he drops it and sprints instead, plants his stance, then rockets off like lightning. He rockets across the scene so fast that everyone else only sees a blur of light. Meanwhile, 2 students from Cryana Academy stride through town, and the girl groans that dorm life is a total drag, so the boy shrugs it off and says rent in the royal capital is brutally expensive, so what can they do? Even so, he swears they're crazy lucky to get into Cryana Academy as commoners, and the girl nods, fully agreeing. Right then, Alba tore past them in a blur so fast the girl swore it was just a gust of wind, but the boy caught the truth and couldn't believe what he'd just seen. Turns out that kid isn't some random stranger, it's Yuri's real identity, the true protagonist of the Cryana fantasy game. When the girl asked what was wrong, he shrugged it off and said it was nothing, only to address her by name, Alice. He shrugs it off and asks, "Are you really buying all that stuff?" And she shoots back, "A girl needs all kinds of things." Alba snaps to a stop because it's not just Yuri who clocks him. Then he spots Yuri too, and instantly recognizes who he is. Later, up in the mountains near Cryana Academy, Alba hunted down every single herb the quest demanded. With that mission finally done, he's ready to bolt, and even though he's way up in the mountains, he effortlessly springs from one ledge to the next, smashing his way downward. After years up in the mountains, he moved through any terrain like it was nothing. When Alba finally storms into the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist stares in disbelief because only 3 hours have passed since he took the quest, and it's already done. She fires off a stunned question. How did he pull off a round trip that usually takes 6 hours? Alba breaks it down and admits he sprinted at full speed, and the answer leaves her absolutely gobsmacked. Now that the quest is done, she won't pry. She just hands him the quest reward. So in just 3 hours, he racks up 10,000 curia from a 1-star quest, but it's nowhere near enough, so he knows he has to climb ranks fast if he wants bigger money. For now, he pushes all that aside and can't stop wondering how Celia is doing. Inside the church, Celia throws herself into her role as the saintess, praying fiercely for the crowd of followers who came to witness her. The priests beam with pride, and her followers practically explode with joy, thrilled to finally have her in their midst. With all those followers flooding in to watch her, Celia ended up raking in more than 10 times what Alba made in the exact same stretch of time. Later in the capital, Alba dug into a steaming bowl of ramen and couldn't stop gushing about how mind-blowingly amazing the place was. Turns out there was a ramen shop right there. And the capital is also packed with the Aricia Duchy, Alba's family. So now, 3 years later, there's no excuse his brother should have already taken over the house and the title. Even though they're brothers, Alba bolted right after his reincarnation. So they basically grew up like strangers, and he barely has a clue what their bond is really like. Since nobody ever shut down the rumors of his death, it's obvious they've written him off completely. Forget all that. Unlike the mountains, the capital is packed with folks who actually know Alba, so he's got to stay razor alert, or he'll crash into someone like Alina before he's ready. As he steps out of the ramen shop, he clenches his fists and vows to stay on guard because one slip could spark a death flag in the blink of an eye. Right then, he hears the crowd yelling, "Watch out!" and it hits. They're scrambling to warn everyone about a runaway horse. A girl drops to her knees as she scrambles to escape. And then the horse charges straight for her. She can only shriek in pure helpless terror. The horse is seconds from trampling her flat. A bolt of lightning rips through the crowd and slams straight into the beast. Dust swirls up into the sky as the girl freezes. Then a flash of blue lightning tears the air open. When the haze finally thins, Alba rushes in and asks if she's okay. As soon as the view sharpens, you see it. Alba's already dropped the horse, and she's standing tall on top of it. He asks her one more time if she's okay, and she nods back, telling him she's totally fine. Alba hops off the horse, knocks it aside like an accident, then apologizes to it anyway while the girl laughs and thanks him. She blurts out that she's seen his face before, and it hits him like a punch hard. Then he starts panicking, thinking that if she's a noble, it wouldn't be weird at all for her to recognize the Duke's second son, Alba. Before he even gets a word out, the whole crowd explodes with cheers. He gushes about how insanely cool it is that he took down that wild horse. Then he snaps his hood up fast to hide his face. He moved because he couldn't ignore her scream. And as he does, he realizes that if he keeps standing out like this, someone might spot him and clock him as Alba. Just as he's thinking it over, a squad of knights crashes into the scene, and their leader steps forward, demanding what caused all this noise. Alba snaps into action and saves the man. Then the moment she sees his face, she instantly recognizes him as Duke Roy Aretia, and the shock hits her like a punch. Roy suddenly clocked the girl, leaned in, and asked if she was from the Lupica barony. She nodded, introduced herself as Mina, and reminded him they'd met right at his succession ceremony. Then she explains the hooded man saved her from a runaway horse and from how they talk, calling him the Duke and bringing up the succession ceremony. It's clear this isn't just a random rescue. Alba can't help but wonder if Roy is really his brother. Then Roy turns to him and spills pure gratitude, thanking Alba for keeping public order and for being a real friend to the Lupica family. Alba doesn't answer because he can't let Roy figure out who he really is. No reply hits Roy hard, and he asks if Alba just isn't accepting his thanks, or if he's simply being rude. Alba snaps back, swears it's not true, and then tries to slip away with a quick excuse. But then, oh no, Roy shouts, "Alba!" and the name hits him like a punch, freezing him mid-step. Roy then blurts out that Alba's voice instantly drags him back to his clueless little brother, so that's why he called out that name. Suspicion sparks in his gut, so he demands Alba show his face. Alba trembles and snaps back that his features aren't worth showing to a duke, but then Roy's voice turns iron. He snaps that it's his call, and then he orders Alba to meet his eyes. The moment Alba steps into view, the whole world flips from bad to terrifying, and he has no clue what fate is about to slam into him. But right then, a voice yelled his name, Al, and told him, "We found you." And judging by how everyone's faces lit up, it's clear this person is a total celebrity among the crowd. Roy clocks her instantly Alina Persia, and she returns the respect with a crisp, polite, "Good day." For Alba, none of it feels safe. Roy, his brother standing right behind him, and his ex-fiancée in front both already know the real Alba. Tiger in front, wolf snapping at his back. Alba's trapped in pure danger, and his mind races as he tries to figure out his next move. Roy leans in and asks Alina if she recognizes the man, and she smiles, saying he's her friend, a squire in training named Al. She admits that because he showed up late to their meeting, she tracked him down and even jokes that covering for someone's tardiness is exactly the kind of move you'd expect from a knight in training. Alba's completely thrown off. She can't figure out why she's stuck covering for him. So Roy blurts, "Wait, does that mean you're not Alba?" And when Alina hears it, she freezes, totally baffled, and swears there's no way she could have ever mistaken Alba for anyone else, especially since she used to be his fiancé, and now she keeps reminding everyone that Alba is supposed to be dead. Right after that, the two of them lock eyes sharp, intense, and deadly still for a heartbeat. After that awkward pause, Roy nods and says his disgraceful brother is finally gone and that he's sorry to Al, who just smiles and waves it off, saying it's all right. With that problem finally handled, Roy proposes he'll escort Mina home, and she agrees. Then she thanks him before they go right at the doorway. Mina turns to Alba and credits him too for saving her, and Alba gladly accepts her gratitude. And just like that, everyone leaves, Alina, and Alba are finally alone together. Alba doesn't want anything to do with him, so he bolts, blurts out thanks for helping him escape without any trouble, and then starts walking off as he waves goodbye. Still reeling from what just went down, he lets out a shaky breath at least his cover holds, then bolts before anyone can catch on. Just like that, he gets yanked to a halt again. This time, Alina is standing there with a sword leveled right beside him. She snaps at him to stop because they need to talk, and then she hits him with his real name, Alba. He nervously snaps his eyes away and demands what she means, but she shoots back that if he keeps playing dumb, she'll expose his identity to the Duke. He realizes she really does know, so he throws in the towel and promises to explain everything, only to explode with frustration, because he hasn't even started school yet, and he's already in deep trouble. He pins everything on the goddess of fate, swearing she never lets up for a second to torment him. The very next day at Kriana Academy, the entrance ceremony kicks off, doors open, crowds roar, and everything changes. The headmaster cheers the new students for getting in, then leans in and fires them up to chase their ambition and sharpen their wisdom, reminding them that they're the ones who will seize the future and drag it into existence. The old headmaster, the same man who'd ordered that dress, booms that his fate will glow bright with the goddess of fate's blessing. Then he practically screams, "Yay, hooray!" Seeing that, Celia's like, wow, our headmaster's got non-stop energy, while Alba remembers him from the game back when he popped in as the helper, sliding the player tips and hints. With the ceremony finally over, Celia and Alba rushed into Kriana Academy, and so far, nothing bad has happened to stop them. But Alba knows the truth inside this academy. His real death flags are about to start popping up, one after another. Altogether, 5 heroines are tied to these killer death flags. And right now, he's already tangled with 2 Celia and Alina, so adding anyone else would only crank up the odds of getting him killed. Among the last heroines is the princess. This secret character never shows up inside the academy, so she's not on anyone's radar. The real trouble is Alice and Lily. His childhood friend and the sage's disciple in Alba has to be ultra careful around both of them since they're classmates. But there's an even bigger danger than the 5 heroines. Alba has to steer clear of one more person, no matter what. Yuri's right there, just a few steps away from the crowd, may be the game's protagonist, but the danger doesn't come from that alone. But it's because he's the one who wipes out almost every villain in the game, putting death on their doorstep. Alba tries to stay hidden, and then boom, his gaze locks onto hers the second their eyes meet. Alba whips her gaze away, and Yuri freezes in confusion for a beat. Then Celia presses Alba, "What's wrong?" And Alice turns to Yuri with the same question, but they both wave it off like it's nothing. Alba clenches his resolve in silence. Never, not once, will he get tangled up with Yuri, and vows to coast through his academy days unnoticed, keeping his head down and staying invisible. Later, in the unicorn classroom where Celia and Alba sit side by side, they suddenly get swarmed by a circle of curious students staring at them. Alba realizes in a flash that she can't possibly stay unnoticed sitting right beside the saintess. Everybody is whispering, staring, and acting like she's a spectacle. But the moment he clocks Celia's nerves, he gets it. She won't be able to live a normal school life, and he can't help but wonder what he should do next. Celia snaps to her feet and announces, "I'm Celia Margaret, the new first year in the unicorn class." She jumps in and says, "I'm not here as the saintess, I'm right here as your classmate." Then she grins and tells everyone to just call her Celia. The classroom suddenly explodes with chatter, and she instantly snatches everyone's attention, softening the room in seconds. Before Alba can even breathe, the students start calling her Celia instead of saintess, and just like that, one of Alba's biggest worries evaporates. But just as things start to settle, a girl blurts out, "So who's Alba?" And suddenly the other students start clocking his face. Then the nasty rumors hit like a wave, and they start staring at him like he's trouble. Alba realizes way too late that the academy is packed with noble kids, and even after he dyes his hair and reshapes his personality, the danger still hangs there. They could uncover who he really is. Right then, Celia snaps into action, grabs the spotlight, introduces him as her friend, and reveals he's a holy knight apprentice named Al. Alba can barely swallow it, Befriending someone suspicious this fast just doesn't feel believable. Still, everyone else instantly buys it and welcomes him with open smiles. And that hits Alba like a punch. He knows exactly how the saintess's presence can feel so powerful and frightening. Then Celia gives him a quick wink, and he answers in silence, gratitude clear on his face. Right after, another student saunters up and greets Alba. Then boom, she reveals she's Alina. Alba asks if she's in the unicorn class too, and Alina grins and confirms, telling her they're classmates now. While the others hush whisper about her beauty and razor-sharp sword skill, Celia leans in and quietly asks Alba, "Is this the girl from the other day?" He drops the truth and admits he told her everything about his real identity, Alba, not Al, because she's the woman he used to be engaged to. Alina rushes in to apologize for the mess she caused earlier, calling Celia, "My holiness," with trembling respect. Then Celia freezes in shock when she hears that Alba once had a former engagement to Alina. After everything that went down with Roy, Alba finally leaned in and told Alina the truth. He wasn't a double at all. He was really Alba. Alina's jaw drops at the reunion. She blurts that he must have fled 3 years ago since he hated the ducal house, and Alba answers that he wasn't running from the past at all. He was desperate to shed who he used to be and come back as a brand new person. He shuts his mouth about his reincarnation. She'd never buy it, and he's terrified it'll trigger some kind of death flag, while Alina recalls that 3 years ago, the Arikia family stormed over to her people and cut the engagement loose, and back then the gossip went wild. People swore he'd vanished, been declared dead, or even been wiped out by the Duke. Alba just awkwardly chuckles and says basically that their trust in him must have been rock bottom. Alina admits her family practically cheered the breakup, relieved to be done with a delinquent, and when Alba hears that, she lets out a quiet breath and asks if Alba hated him too. She confesses she'd been calling him a despicable, womanizing scoundrel, and then admits she'd often thought about cutting herself down. Alba is terrified, but after a beat, Alina finally admits it when she thought he was dead. She cried until her eyes burned. A childhood memory slams back into their minds. Young Alba once asked a crying Alina why she was breaking down, and she confessed that her father said her personality and sword skills were too masculine, pushing her to act more like a woman. Young Alba shot back, blunt and fearless, saying it didn't matter if she played the part of a man or a woman. What mattered was Alina's worth, and that moment lit her up with pure joy. Remembering it, she admits she never actually hated the Alba of their youth. That bombshell hits Alba like a sucker punch because the game never says a word about it, and now he's left wondering if the original Alba was ever truly bad or if the truth was hiding in plain sight. Alina keeps talking, tapping the truth like it's a drumbeat. He's guarding the saintess now, and just recently he threw himself into danger to save a woman from a runaway horse. To her, that's the proof he's been reborn for real. Alba can only laugh a little, awkward and tense, because deep down she knows the person inside him has changed. Alina murmurs that he's turned into exactly what he used to be, and when Alba can't catch every word, confusion flashes on her face. Then she shrugs it off. Then she fires off a question. What's he going to do about those nobles at the academy who can't stand him? Alba just shrugs and says he'll do his absolute best to stay hidden and not get caught. After that tense pause, Alina makes him a bold promise she'll help him, and it totally blindsides him. He smiles at her with real warmth, and she blushes hard. Then she cuts in, saying, "Sure, but in return you've got to help me too." She blurts that ever since their engagement broke, suitors have been swarming her, and if any show up at the academy, he's going to chase them off for her. The moment he hears it, he's stunned, because it crushes his goal of staying invisible. Back in the present, Alba presses Alina about her promise and reminds him, "Don't forget the one you made for yourself," while Celia, overhearing their ruined engagement, spirals into a storm of assumptions and steps in to talk to Alina, who once again calls her her holiness. Celia shoots a firm reminder, "We're classmates," and demands to be called Celia. Alina nods along, agreeing to the same courtesy. And with that, Alina gently pats Celia on the head to greet her, and Celia's totally caught off guard. Celia shoots back a greeting, and bam, the tension melts. They click instantly, with Celia staring at Alina like she's beautiful, and Alina thinking Celia is just too cute. Celia snaps at Alba, demanding why he kept his connection to Alina under wraps, and Alba fires back that he didn't hide it at all. He just never got the opening to tell her. Celia shuts down the explanation with a pout, and Alina can't help but find it ridiculously charming. Right then, someone spots Alba juggling a flower in each hand, and with both the saintess and Alina watching, they snap, "Don't get carried away," and label him nothing but a lowly holy knight apprentice. When Alba asks who he is, the man sneers at him like he's just some backwoods bumpkin. Alina clocks him instantly as Walby, the oldest son of Count Walgett, and straight up tells her that he's one of the suitors she wants Alba to deal with. Walby steps up to Alina and praises her stunning beauty, but the moment he does, irritation snaps and she hisses that he's never changed a bit. Walby insists that even if his family are just counts, they're still high-ranking nobles, and that his alliance with House Persia would be perfect. But Alina shuts him down fast, barking that he better not show up with marriage proposals at the academy. Gasps ripple through the crowd, but Walby keeps pushing forward. He reminds everyone that as classmates, he can't let this chance slip away. He gushes that Elena is the Persia family's living gem, royal blood coursing through her, and swears she's worth far more than she ever dares to believe. With total swagger, he sweeps in and asks her to marry him, saying it'll bring them and both of their families together at last. Before Lena can even open her mouth, Alba cuts in and snarls at her, demanding what kind of nonsense he's spitting. He sort of follows Alina's earlier request, but it's really his own disgust for people like Walby driving the interruption. Alba snaps that Walby just doesn't get Alina at all because the man can't see her real worth. Alba's bold move shuts Walby up on the spot, and while the others crowd in, Celia included, they're all relieved she stepped in. Alina, flashing back to their childhood meeting, gets hit with a wave of emotion so intense it almost knocks the breath out of her. Fuming, Walby snaps that Alba has no right to insult the House of Walgett, then demands to know how she even dares. Swearing he'll never forgive this insult, he flings a handkerchief into the air. Alba snatches it in total confusion and blurts, "What does this mean?" Then boom, someone in the crowd yells that it means a duel, and the shock hits him so hard he can barely breathe. At Kriana Academy, the rules are ice cold. Students aren't allowed to fight to the death, but if someone tries to crush your dignity or pride, you can still step up and challenge them to a duel. To kick off a duel, you hurl the official handkerchief at your opponent if they catch it. That means they've just agreed to fight, but duels only happen on the Academy's sanctioned grounds, and a referee has to be on the scene to make it official. That referee is a black cat, and she introduces herself as Kate Sith. Then she slices the air with her announcement. The duel between Walby and Alba is about to begin. Then the crowd explodes, cheering in every direction, some chanting for Alba, some booing her way, and others showing up just to catch a glimpse of that black cat. In the thick of the crowd, Celia blurts out how shocked she is that Alba actually agreed to the duel, and Alina beside her snaps back that running from a duel is a shame that weighs more than death, then tells Alba to get ready. Even though she said otherwise, Alba can't shake the shock because he somehow agreed to the duel by accident, and he didn't even know the rules. Walby jeers at him, calling him a country bumpkin and taunting him to surrender while there's still time then before Alba can even fire back. The referee cuts in and demands they spell out exactly what their pride and dignity are fighting for. Alba remembers this in the game. The dueling system was just a random side thing, totally cut off from the main story, so it had absolutely nothing to do with his death flag. Walby snaps that if Alba loses, he's staying out of Alina's business, and then he grins, claiming the saintess for himself too. This enrages Alba, and with his death flag already useless in this moment, he just accepts it. He says, "If I win, Walby has to stay far away from us." Walby stands tall, certain he's walking away victorious, as both sides lock in their oaths, and the referee raises the signal. Then the cat duel erupts into motion. While the crowd roars, Celia leans in and demands to know if Walby is really as strong as people swear. Alina answers that Walby is a fire mage, and the deadliest in their whole year when it comes to sheer destructive power. Walby bursts into chanting as flames spiral up in his hand. Seeing that, Alba can't help wondering if Walby's about to kick things off with a spell because the mana blast is so intense. The referee's already clocked it. Walby's loading a high-level incantation. Screaming the spell's name, he unleashes the purgatory flame, then hurls a brutal fireball, smashing it into Alba. Then an explosion erupts so violent it shocks the whole room, and worried, Celia cries out Alba's name. As smoke chokes the battlefield, Wall bursts into wild laughter. Sure, Alba is nothing but ashes. Then he turns to the referee and asks if killing in a duel counts as a crime. The cat snaps back, "Nope," then reminds him the ref's job is to stop stuff like that before it spirals. Walby's totally lost. And the referee reassures him they don't need to step in just yet. Right then, Alba suddenly slips in behind the wall and coolly tells them, "Those flames were seriously impressive." And he calls it out. Wall's by leaves, literally leaves him wide open as he chants. Walby's too rattled to speak, so he snaps, "How did Alba pop up behind him so fast?" And even the referee cat can't hide the shock at her speed. People who've seen Alba fight before instantly spot it, his move that teleports him in the blink of an eye, and they're left stunned, begging to know how he pulls it off. Alina remembers the first time she ran into him at the academy. He dodged her attack with the same ability, then snatched it back at jaw-dropping speed, and now she can't shake the feeling that his moves are almost inhuman. Before she can even finish her sentence, another voice snaps in, "Lightning," and the girl fires back. Alba doesn't summon lightning at all. He turns his own body into the lightning itself. She explains that magic means dragging something new into the world, and Alba just happens to be one of those new phenomena. The other students spot her out of nowhere, and jaws drop as whispers ripple through the room. Sure, they think she's adorable, but the real question burns hot. Who is she? She shrugs them off and wonders if this is the real reason Alba can cast magic with no chanting, but even then, it feels brutally close to impossible, and she can't shake the thought that most people here can't even begin to understand how dangerous and hard it really is. When she hears Alba's name in the announcement, she snaps back that the power he's showing is her master, the sage's territory, and she's not about to lose to him. Meet Lily, one of Cryana's heroines, and the sage's sharp-eyed disciple. As soon as Alba reappears behind him, the duel erupts. He sprints back fast, orders that Alba won't slip away again, and then starts chanting a brand new spell. As his painfully long spell drags on, Alba snaps at him to quit, warning again that chanting leaves Walby stuffed with weak spots. When Walby won't listen, Alba surges, becomes lightning one more time, and slams him with a strike. He gets hit before the chant finishes, and a brutal thrust sends him flying away. Walby gets blasted out of the ring and slams into the ground, and Alba can't help thinking, did he go too far? Because Walby has already left. The referee cat slams the moment home and declares Alba the winner. All the students erupted into cheers for Alba, and right as the cat nurses sprinted to Walby, they checked him over, then realized he was unconscious, but totally unharmed. In the crowd, two students lock in on the fight harder than anyone. Yuri, the real protagonist, and his childhood friend Alice, one of the story's main heroines. They're blown away by Alba's power to cast spells with zero chanting, something they swear is impossible. Alice is still buzzing with gratitude that she saw the duel, and she turns to Yuri, asking what he thinks. Yuri nods and breaks it down. Sure, it looked like Alba wiped out Walby with a single strike, but the real story was Alba never even landed a punch. He just shot his arm forward at insane speed, blasting out a shockwave so violent it sent walls flying. Hearing that, Alice is blown away, and Yuri confirms it with total certainty. Alice fires back that Alba isn't the only unbelievable one, because when she and the other students saw nothing but a blur and a flash of blue, Yuri managed to catch every movement clearly and break it down in detail. Curious, she blurts out, "So who wins if Yuri and Alba ever fight?" Yuri's freezes in surprise, but Alice quickly explains that if he can read Alba's moves, then maybe he can shut them down before they land. She pushes him for a clear answer, insisting he'll still lose, so Yuri bites back, confirms it, and says there's no point in them fighting at all. After a short pause, he finally admits it. If Alba ever tries to bring heartbreak to the people he loves, he won't break, not for a second. Right after the duel, Alba runs into Celia and Celia's jaw drops as she praises his strength, while Alina blurts out in shock, asking where he ever found power like that. He tells her he trained deep in the mountains, but the truth is, it wasn't just workouts. It was the real Alba's natural gift, the kind only he knows exists in this world. In the game, Alba is a terrifying force so powerful he can even become the final boss. And if he keeps training and leveling up, he'll get so strong he won't lose to the protagonist, not even once. With that kind of power on the horizon, the protagonist finally feels it. His confidence isn't wishful thinking, it's real. Alina can't believe it. This guy who once despised effort is now sweating through training every day, like he's a whole new person, and Alba just tells her, "I've been reborn into a new self." Celia shoots back, asking if the old Alba really was that awful, and Alina doesn't hesitate. She calls him the lowest of the low. Alba's left awkward as hell, but Celia pushes on, insisting that no matter what, to her, Alba is the best. She throws her arms around him, and just like that, he has to remind her all over again to call him Al at the academy. He blurts out that maybe he took the duel too far, but Celia shuts that down fast. She swears he's fine, and that anyone who messes with Alina should get sent flying. She swears that if anything goes wrong, she'll bring him back to life, and when he hears it, he praises her as a dependable saintess. Watching them unfold, Alina feels something ignite inside her. She thanks Alba for stepping in to duel for her, and he reminds her like a vow that he promised to protect her, so Alina's face burns red as she nods and agrees. Alba's convinced everything's fine, like the duels have nothing to do with that looming death flag hanging over him. And just like that, fate keeps rolling. While he has no clue, the key players are already falling into place. A few days later, back in their place in the capital, Alba is crashed out deep in sleep when Celia bursts in to drag him out for breakfast. She pins herself on top of him and makes him say good morning. Then he gasps that he can't breathe, but she grins and tells him she's doing it since he never would have woken up otherwise. Fresh out of her wash, Alba plops down at the dining table, ready to dig in. Then she sees him stare at the dishes she made, and he blurts out that her cooking's gotten way better. She shoots back, reminding him she trained hard up in the mountains and got tons of practice. Then he proposes he'll take over dinner tonight, and she fires back that she wants her share of the nikujaga he makes. After they finish breakfast, they gear up to head to the academy, and Celia shoots him a quick reminder. "Don't forget your lunch." He grins and thanks her. Alba freezes for a second and realizes this lunchbox looks just like the bento from his old life, so Celia fires off, "What's wrong?" He tries to brush it off as nothing, but Celia cuts in. "Come on, or we'll be late." Celia says the academy classes are pure fun, leans in to ask what he thinks, and he admits they're brutal hard for him. On the way to the academy, they spot a few friends, and Alina he greets her like it's the start of something huge, same as the others, bright and early with a good morning. Later in class, Alba clicks his pencil and lets his mind drift to the one thing he can't stop enjoying, the calm, peaceful life he's been living at the academy. He clocked it immediately, ever since that duel on day one. Not a single death flag has reared its ugly head. When the teacher calls for an answer, Celia quietly urges Alba to focus, and Alina jumps in. She nails the question and earns instant praise. After class ends, Alba slips through the school hallway all by himself, and every other student keeps a mile away. So he's convinced he went way too far in that duel, scaring the students so badly they couldn't even breathe around him. So yeah, because of that, he dodges every single death flag situation, like fate backed off just in time, but even with that win, a lonely ache still gnaws at him. Meanwhile, during lunch, Alina storms over to Celia and demands where Alba is. Then Celia fires back, saying Alba is straight up unbelievable as he shoved down his bento all alone before break even began, then claimed he was taking a nap and disappeared because now he's fast asleep under a tree. Hearing that, Alina can't help but wonder, Has he really changed? Or is he still that same delinquent underneath it all? Alba skips lunch with them because every time she dines with the heroines, their favorability skyrockets, so she stays away. Even though he feels awful for Celia, he has to keep his distance because one wrong move and a death flag is about to go off. Right as he's dozing off, a girl pops up out of nowhere, slides over, and asks if she can join him for lunch, turning his world upside down with pure surprise. Turns out, it's the very girl he saved from that runaway horse, and she's thanking him all over again, like he's her hero for life. He locks eyes with her and knows her face, but her name slips his mind, so she leans in and tells him, "It's Mina." Mina blurts that she's shocked to find out from the duel that he's just a first year at the same academy as her. Then Alba shoots back that he's just as stunned. She's here too, and Mina scoots her lunchbox toward him. Nervous hands shaking, she blurts out that she wanted to thank him for everything, so she made this bento and begs him to take it. Alba's hit with whiplash because this feels almost exactly like that lunch event from the game. But he can't recall a single heroine named Mina, so she has to be a throwaway side character. Since Alba won't answer, Mina assumes it's a straight-up rejection and rushes to apologize for bothering him. Then, in a flash, he snatches the bento from her hand and blurts out a quick thank you, saying he'd take it without hesitation, and that was all it took to light up her whole face. Because Alba isn't the main character, she's convinced there's zero issue snatching her bento and diving right in. As they sink under the tree, Alba starts digging into the food and tells everyone it's seriously delicious. Mina hears him, asks, "Is it really that good?" and lights up with pure joy when she gets the answer. She keeps calling him Sir Al, so he snaps at her to ditch the Sir and just call him Al, so the moment he says it, she does. Alba snaps at her that she shouldn't get too close to him, and the girl fires back. Why? He tells her plain and simple if she sticks around a guy like him, people will start overlooking her too, and he's convinced that would be a real loss. She totally gets what Alba's trying to say, and then shuts it down hard, insisting this is her choice. And she doesn't care a single bit what anyone thinks or how they judge her. Alba freezes, staring at her fierce determination and honest eyes, and that's when he's convinced she's the kind of strong-willed character the game was built for. Then Mina drops the truth. There are perks too, and when Alba looks totally lost, she blurts out a clear example if she plays nice with him, maybe he'll come rescue her again. When she hears that, both of them burst out laughing, and he promises he'll do anything he can to help her right then. Someone slides in and asks, "Are you having fun?" And that instantly throws Alba off. It's Celia, wearing a painfully fake smile as she says he wouldn't so much as eat lunch with her. Yet, here he is flirting with another girl. Alba snaps to his feet and blurts that it's all a misunderstanding. He's not trying to hit on Mina. Mina stands up out of nowhere and blurts that she's heading back to class, leaving Alba totally baffled. Then she greets Celia, gives a quick excuse, and slips out. Mina's sudden departure leaves Celia and Alba utterly stunned, like they've just been hit with a plot twist out of nowhere. But when she spots Celia the saintess, her eyes shift, and off she goes like she has a whole different reason to act. Alright, Alba drops the real detail. Mina, that girl, is her classmate, and yeah, he helped her a while back. Hearing it, Celia leans in, asking, "Wait, was that the same girl you saved from that runaway horse?" He nods along, then suddenly remembers she's from the Lupica Baroni, and even Alina knew her name. Celia smirks and points out that if she's their classmate, she might be stepping into the next event. That hits Alba like a truck, because in that moment he snaps back to reality. This is it. The event is finally starting. Kriana Fantasy kicks off its first big in-game event with the youth field trip straight up proposed by the headmaster. So in Neep Forest, the students don't get a choice. They have to scrap with magic beasts while they hunt medicinal herbs, and it's basically a hands-on tutorial to teach new players how to fight. So they expect only weak magic beasts to show up, which makes it pretty safe still. It's a huge deal, because, depending on what you choose, you can forge a deeper bond with one of the heroines, but for Alba, that same choice lights up a death flag he's quietly trying to dodge. That same day, the students are hauled off on their field trip straight into the Neep Forest. Nervous as hell, Celia asks Alba if battling magic beasts isn't terrifying, and Alba grins back that she has nothing to fear, everyone's there, and only weak magic beasts will show up. Then Alina leans in, tells Celia, "Don't panic, I've got my sword right here," and right in that moment, a teacher yanks everyone behind him, promising the students he's no kind of teacher who'd ever get beaten by a magic beast. Even though the teacher's acting confident right now, Alba, who's lived through this nightmare before, knows the next moment will slam the smile off their face. From what he can recall, the game gives him 4 choices, and one of them is to save the students and treat them right there beside Celia. Another path is teaming up with Alina to take down a magic beast. Then comes the gut-wrenching choice: go rescue Alice, the original protagonist's childhood friend who got lost, and the last option, Lily, except the details are fuzzy, like his memory slips every time he tries to grab them. For now, forget all that between the 4 options. The hero is guaranteed to show up. So Alba has to be razor-sharp with his choice. One wrong step, and he'll end up walking the exact same path as the protagonist. The field trip kicks off, and Celia scans the jungle with her friends, while Alina charges in and smashes monster after monster, leaving the whole class staring in awe. Meanwhile, Yuli's and Alice are huddled together, chatting up a storm, while Lily slips quietly into her book. Meanwhile, the teacher snaps at the students to stay calm and not do anything reckless because they're about to step straight into the magic beast's habitat. Right then, he catches the ground trembling and feels a weird presence crawling toward him, closer, until it finally clicks. But it's already too late. Only when the monsters surge right up to him does he finally realize it's a stampede. Panic erupts across the students as the teacher fights to keep his cool, barking orders for everyone to retreat right now. Celia, hanging near the teacher's group, spots the beasts and freezes in pure shock, while Alina rushes in, trying to calm everyone down before panic explodes. Even with the monsters closing in, Lily feels something else lurking nearby. Then Alice gets torn away from Ulysse, and he yanks out his sword the moment he sees the students stampeding in terror. Alba, who'd been bracing for this exact nightmare, finally locks in. Yep, it's the great stampede of demonic beasts. The teacher orders every student to stay calm and rush out of the forest, while he stays behind as the decoy. As the monsters close in, Celia's friends shout for her to bolt, and she nods and runs with them. Alina, though, snaps that everyone should stay calm and fall in behind her. True to his word, the teacher throws himself into a brutal fight, stalling the monsters so the students can finally slip away. While Alba keeps his cool, he weighs his next move with fierce focus, because one wrong step here could shake the bond he's building with the heroines. The closer he gets to any one of them, the nearer that death flag looms, and he's got to dodge it at any cost. So he makes up his mind he's going to track every step of the path Alba, the original villain, carved in the game. Throw it all away and sprint into the night. Celia and her crew finally made it to a safer spot. Then, out of nowhere, a bear-like monster lunged and tore into one of them. Celia's scream tears through the air, and the monster snaps its focus to her, charging in fast. She squeezes her eyes shut, yells Alba's name, and panics, wondering where he's disappeared to. In the blink of an eye, like lightning itself, Alba shows up and blasts the bear away with a crushing kick. Celia jolts awake, spots Alba, and lets out a shaky sigh of relief as she blurts his name. After crushing Alba's monster, Alba races Celia out of the forest at once. She thanks him for saving her, but she flat out refuses to run. With her healing magic, she knits her injured friend back together, then admits fear is clawing at her, but she still insists she'll push through and help everyone. She's sure Alba's power can save everyone, and she pushes him to use it right now. The second he hears her words, Alba nods without hesitation, and in that snap of time, logic and death flags stop mattering to him. Now he's done with the idea of saving only himself. That would be pathetic, and he agrees to Celia's request, telling her to hand everything over to him while she warns him to stay sharp and be careful. Meanwhile, Alina squares up against a mantis-like monster and just wipes the thing out without breaking a sweat. Then she screams for everyone to run until 2 brand new monsters suddenly pop up behind her, and she barely has time to react. Just in time, before the monsters even get a shot off, Alba rips through them with lightning, turning them to dust in seconds. He leans in and asks if she's okay, and the moment she sees him, she's hit with surprise. Then she straightens up, tells him she's absolutely fine, and warns him not to underestimate her. Alba nods and tells her he knows exactly how skilled she is, and that simple truth lights up her whole face. Even so, he urges her to stay alert because overconfidence gets people killed, and she nods like, "You're right." Then he tells her he's pushing deeper into the forest and asks her to guard this area, and she agrees, warning him to be careful too. Then he pushes deeper into the forest, mowing down as many monsters as he can before they get him. From what he can still remember of the game, this whole event only shuts down the moment the player stomps the boss, lurking in the very deepest part of the forest. The thing that keeps him up at night is the demonic beasts showing up here because this is meant to be a beginner's event, so only low-level monsters should be crawling out. These aren't just any monsters. They're the ones that usually crawl out in the game's midsection, and he can feel something's gone off track from the original story because the way he's been acting doesn't match the lore at all. When he finally pushes to the deepest heart of the forest, the final boss drops into view, and it's changed for the worse, a three-headed demonic chimera staring him down. Because he remembers getting slammed by this monster before, he realizes this isn't some beginner tutorial boss at all then. Out of nowhere, he hears someone screaming for help, and his whole body freezes. Turns out the student is already caught, pinned in the chimera's snake-like tail, and the real gut punch hits when Alba recognizes the girl too. It's Alice, the heroine. She introduces herself and blurts, "I need help," because she got lost, and now the monster's got her. Even though she's wrapped in his death flag, he refuses to abandon her, so he snaps into action and drives into the chimera with lightning-fast attacks. To his shock, his attack lands with nothing, no effect at all. Then the chimera snaps back, blasting him with fire, and he barely twists out of the way. Alice then blurts that the chimera's form is shifting at lightning speed, leaving him even more completely baffled. She breaks it down like this in one phase: it'll shred magic, but get beaten by physical hits. Then in the next phase, the whole thing flips and it dodges physical, only to get wrecked by magic. Because Alba keeps smashing it with lightning, the chimera is in that nasty magic won't stick mode right now, and once she realizes it, everything clicks. She finally understands why that boss wrecked her so badly in the game. In the game, that monster wouldn't fall unless the player and their allies fought as one. Knowing that, he's going to cast magic to slam the distance shut, then crush them with pure physical force. He pulls it off straight up, lands the hit, then the chimera suddenly opens its mouth and starts talking, telling him that a punch like that is pointless, and that he'll never win. Right after that, it snaps back with a counterattack. Albus darts aside in a blink, then slips back before it can land another hit. Bare-handed combat feels like a death wish, but he has to make it work because he left without a single weapon. Alice erupts in a shout, calling his attempt pathetic and urging him to do his best right as it drives Alba up the wall, who fires back that Alice has no room to judge when she's the one who got captured. Enraged, the monster clamps down on Alice and coils tighter and tighter, shredding her with unbearable pain. Just before that serpent could crush her, a blade screamed through its body, slicing it to pieces and ripping her free. Alba's jaw drops because the one behind it all turns out to be Yuli. Alice blurts out that she truly believed Ulysses would come charging in to save her, and he just smirks. "Of course I would." The monster snaps its attention from Alba to Ulysses, while he carefully tucks Alice under a tree, tells her to rest, and steps up to deal with the creature. With that, he charges straight at the chimera, barking, "Are you mad too?" because rage is boiling in him just as fiercely after it tried to hurt someone precious to him. Alba is watching the battle in stunned silence, because Ulysses is landing attacks so fast and so clean that even she can't believe it, though. Yeah, she already figured a protagonist like him would come in swinging. But no matter how hard he swings, those hits barely make the chimera flinch. Alice tells everyone the monster can swap its weakness on the fly. Right now, it shrugs off physical attacks, which means only one thing: magic is the answer. Got it. Alba dashes right back into the brawl and slams a lightning charge kick straight into the fight. This time, the strike lands and it absolutely wrecks one of the chimera's heads, dealing major damage. Even though Alba wants absolutely no help from Ulysses, he forces himself to play along just to end the fight fast, and boldly promises to lend Ulysses a hand. Meanwhile, Alice leans in, eyes blazing with excitement as this wild new development unfolds. Ulysses demands a plan from Alba, but Alba just snaps back that there's no master strategy because there's only one move they can make. Ulysses gives the nod, and the two of them barrel straight at the chimera side by side. Alba lunges in first with a lightning kick, but the chimera snaps its weakness somewhere else, and the hit just falls flat. That move gives Uli the perfect opening to slam in a hit, and right after, he tells them to keep trading blows. Alba nods and agrees. From far away, Alice stares in disbelief because she's sure the chimera picked the wrong targets, and that every time it blocks Alba's magic, it leaves a clean opening for Uli's deadly swordplay. And when Uli's swordplay gets smothered, her technique leaves the blade wide open for Alba's magic. With this teamwork, the two of them click instantly and become an untouchable first-year duo, the strongest there is. Ulysses is hit with pure dread when he realizes Alba's lightning-based magic is way beyond anything he's faced before, while Alba finds Uli's blade skills just as terrifyingly fast. Side by side, they crush the chimera with zero trouble. When the dust settles, Ulysses grabs Alba and pours out his thanks for getting Alice back safe. Alice does the same, but Alba just waves it off like it's no big deal. Ulysses changes the subject and blurts out, "Wait, how did you know both our names?" Because the only name Alba should have had was his from their duel. Caught off guard, Alba quickly dodges, saying he just keeps tabs on standout students around his age. Alice rolls her eyes at how childish it all sounds, yet she still buys it because Ulysses is the toughest kid in their village, and Alba can't help herself. She asks if Ulysses and Alice are childhood friends, since they're both from the same place. Ulysses confirms they literally grew up side by side, and that's why his relief is so intense, because she's safe now. Then Alice presses him, asking if he was really that worried about her, and Ulysses admits, "Yeah, she's basically like a little sister to me." Hearing that, her face tightens with a fresh wave of sadness. She clicks her tongue and murmurs, "Little sister," again and again. Right before she snaps into action, Alba clocks what's happening, then blasts Yuli with a punch, declaring she can be the older sister too, and in that second, Alba realizes Yuli's got his hands full. Yuli suggests they all head back together, but because he and Alice are with the Holy Wolf while Alba's with the Holy Horse, Alba decides to head back alone. Yuli still pushes for them to meet halfway, and Alice even scolds him for being so distant because they're friends, right? But he won't budge, snapping that he hates getting dragged along, even though the truth is way darker to him. They're basically walking death flags. Because he's dead set on going solo, Ulysses doesn't argue anymore. He just shrugs, accepts it, and lets him walk out alone. Right before they split, Ulysses leans in and tells him, "You'll never forget Alba's kindness." In his head, Alba tells Uli not to look at him with that gentle, kind smile. Their paths were sealed rival enemies from the start, destined to tear each other down and finally kill each other one day. Honestly, it would have been simpler if Ulysses had hated him from the very beginning. After they leave, Alba whips around to the nearest tree and demands, "Who's there?" When the voice answers, he snaps back that he's known the whole time they've been watching. He can't seem to spot them, so he blurts out whether it's some kind of invisibility magic, but the other person just won't answer. Then Alba snaps that there's no point hiding once he's in that lightning form. He can feel every presence nearby. He tells her to hurry again and finally show herself, even wondering if she's a threat. And right then she gasps, because her invisible camouflage doesn't stand a chance against his eyes. The second she snaps off the invisibility magic, the figure flips into view. Lily, and Alba goes rigid with shock. Lily steps up and says, "Hi, I'm Lily," because she figures Alba just doesn't know her yet. Alba shoots, "How do you know my name?" And he's stunned, because she answers with a grin that every single first year already knows him. That's what he does after his flashy duel show-off. and it crushes Alba's mood because he's furious, wishing he'd never challenged that dumb wall in the first place, and he pins the whole disaster on him. So he pushes past that and snaps, asking Lily why she was hiding. Lily admits that when she got there, everyone was already in the middle of a fight, so she just kept her eyes open and stayed out of it. Then she says this special magic is something she's only ever heard about from her master, so Alba leans in and asks if she means his lightning, but she shakes her head and orders him to look at the chimera. Right then, Alba's eyes go wide as the chimera's body starts melting into smoke, fading away before her. Alice then tells Alba the chimera vanished because its magical energy finally burned out like a warped copy ripped in from another dimension, yet it all sails right over his head, leaving Alba totally lost and confused. So Alice keeps going, breaking it down and making it crystal clear that this is all tied to the magical theory behind building interdimensional phenomenon, like from the ground up. Even now, he's still lost, so she hammers the name of the theory into him all over again. She breaks it down, making fire isn't magic. It's all about tools that grind and scrape until friction heat sparks to life, and that rule just naturally exists in this world. Magic is different because it shatters the rules, conjuring fire out of nowhere like it's nothing at all. Someone even used magic to fake a whole phenomenon, then shoved a chimera into this world like it had just crawled out of another. When Alba hears this, she blurts out, "So it vanished because it wasn't a real chimera, right?" Lily nods and reveals the truth. This isn't just any trick. It's a rare kind of magic. Ordinary people can't even touch. Before Alba can even finish his thought, he's already sure someone's been using this magic, and right as the suspicion hits, Lily snaps the truth. The attackers are zeroing in on the students. The same mages who cooked up the chimera are watching the whole disaster unfold from a distance. One of them blurts out, stunned that a first-year student can take down a chimera, and honestly, they can't help but gush that Kriana Academy is seriously impressive. The other mage shrugs and says it's totally expected. Kriana Academy is one of the 3 biggest powers in the world, standing right there with the royal family and the church. The mage pushes the moment aside, calls her Yoru, and bluntly tells her she's bone dry on mana, no more magic left, so they yank back and retreat. Mage Yoro leans in, calls the other Malady, and demands to know if another chance is on the horizon. She snaps back that Yoru should handle it herself, and Yoru fires back that her powers just don't work for a group fight. Then both mages vanish in a blink with a teleport. Meanwhile, Alba is locked in deep thought, because in the game, this was only meant to be a simple tutorial, and now it screams that his worst fears are real. The whole scenario is flipping and changing at breakneck speed. He can't shake the feeling that the mages who forge magical beasts might be tied to his death flag, and if they turn out to be enemies, he's going in with zero mercy. Lily then snaps that the chimera is gone, so the enemy can't still be lurking in the forest. And with that, Alba tells her to do the same, and heads back to the others. As he turns to leave, Lily yells after him and demands who taught him magic. He just smiles and says, "I taught myself." When Lily realizes he's self-taught, she's so stunned she mutters something under her breath in another language, before she gushes that he's fascinating and admits she's completely taken an interest in him. After that, she's gone vanishing on the spot while Alba stands there reeling. Because it hits him in this event, the player could have pushed things even deeper with Lily. Meanwhile, Celia rushes to heal the injured students, while Alina battles the monsters one by one. They start vanishing as she holds the line. Seeing that, Alice snaps to the truth. Someone did this, and Lily just lets out a quiet, mischievous giggle like she knows exactly what's going on. Alba snaps in irritation when he realizes he accidentally tossed his own death flag into the mix with all the other heroines. Still, when he finally makes it back to Alina and Celia, he lets out a breath of relief. Everyone's alive. Everyone's safe. At the academy, the black cat races to the headmaster and spills the whole situation. No casualties. The headmaster pats the cat for its report and calls it Tamakuro. And just as Tamakuro starts hinting at the enemy's real goal, the headmaster slams the brakes on the theory. Maybe it was the first-year students, or maybe it was something totally different. What gnaws at him most is this: he still doesn't know who the enemy is, or where they came from, and the headmaster doesn't either. He blasts the warning, "Don't you dare underestimate this academy." Roy Aricia shows up a little later, and the teacher rushes him with the truth about a fake magic beast, Stampede. Roy's eyes narrow, and he immediately barks orders to the knights to split up and scour the entire forest, and they snap to it without a second thought. With everything he'd gathered so far, Roy couldn't shake the thought was the real target, actually the first-year students after all. Meanwhile, the students are rushed to a safe spot, and a teacher beams and thanks them for all their effort, then points them to where they'll crash for the night. And the place shocks everyone because it turns out to be an onsen, and the teacher tells everyone it's got a magical bath that can heal bruises and even wipe out sickness, so the students should shut it down for a while, rest, and recover there. That's when Alba decides the academy has serious nerve, turning a terrifying incident into a class activity like it's nothing. And when Celia hears him say that, she immediately fires back, asking what he means, and when he starts explaining that the whole thing was a magic beast attack, she fires back, was it really just a normal practical combat class? Because what he'd seen had terrified him. Alba's jaw drops at how totally clueless she's been. Then Alina barges in, blaring that the magic beasts were cooked up by the academy. As Alba tries to straighten things out, Alba's met with a sharp reply she already knows. Then she casually points out how handy it is to bury the truth like that, because panic is the last thing they need. Hearing that, he whips his head around and spots the other students totally clueless about what really went down, laughing and buzzing about finally getting into the hot springs, and that's when he starts to believe she's right. And he's convinced that just like the three of them, plenty of other students out there also felt the air go cold and sensed something was off. As Alba and Alina press the issue with serious faces, Celia sits there completely clueless, staring back like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" When she says she doesn't understand a single thing, it jolts Alina. She blurts out an apology and promises she'll break everything down clearly. Later, as Alba sprawls on the floor and rolls around like he owns the place, another student blurts, "What are you doing?" And Alba grins that he's savoring the tatami mats and feeling the soul of Japan, which instantly makes yet another student ask, "Wait, what does that even mean?" Those moments hit him like a flash of lightning. This isn't real life. It's a game world, and that's why it blends Japanese style with Western flair. The moment one student starts getting hungry, another snaps. Dinner comes after the bath, so they bolt for the hot springs right away, trading stern warnings not to peek at the women's bath. And that's when Alba hears it and suddenly remembers something. In the Crayona fantasy world, there's a secret optional event where you can peep into the women's bath. And if you pick this option, you get to see the heroines in a much more revealing light. But the twist is brutal. Their affection crashes to -1, so romance with them becomes completely impossible. There's a secret element players are supposed to dodge if they want to finish the game right, but Alba doesn't want to boost his love meter with the heroines, so he's stuck wondering if triggering this event could be the play to dodge his death flags. Later, he shows up at the hot spring with the rest of the students, right as the tension starts to boil. While he wrestles with the idea, he hears the girls chatting on the other side of the wall, and boom, their faces come rushing into his mind with terrifying clarity. Even with nerves screaming in his chest, he keeps telling himself, "I don't really want to peek. I'm only doing it to dodge death flags." Right then, Ulysses suddenly calls his name, yanking him out of his trance, asking if everything's okay because he looks like he's miles away. As Alba squirms and answers, Ulysses clocks the look on his face and asks what's going on. Alba insists everything's fine, says the timing couldn't be more perfect, then he leaps straight into the hot spring, because he can't stand the thought of being that pathetic. Meanwhile, on the other side of the wall in the women's area, Alina leans in and tells Alba just how grateful she is for stepping in and helping her with the whole wall situation. She then shoots Celia a question, does she like Alba, the guy she lives with, and Celia panics so hard she blurts out a nervous denial. She tells them that just like Alina, she's still grateful Alba saved her, and she swears he's the kind of person she can truly respect. Right then, Alice pops up beside them and jumps in, saying Alba saved her too. Since Celia and Alina have never met her, they turn and demand, "So who are you?" Alice jumps in and introduces herself as Alice from the Fenrir group, and then Alina and Celia step up right after to introduce themselves too. A moment later, Alice tells them that Alba saved her from the chimera, and when Celia hears it, she doesn't even look shocked, just shrugs like, "Yeah, that's what Alba does." Alice nods along, and since they're already talking about the chimera, she adds that once it was defeated, the other magic beasts vanished too. Once Alina hears that, she's 100% sure someone set out to terrorize the students with a fake stampede, and Celia can't shake the fear, wondering who in the world would do something like that. Then she catches Alice glaring at her, snaps, "What's your problem?" And Alice shoots back, "Are you the saintess?" As Celia finally confirms it, Alice suddenly yanks at a specific spot on Celia, snapping her out with a sharp scream as she blurts, "I can't take this anymore." Alice blurts out an apology and says she's just so thrilled to be able to touch the saintess that she can't help it, while Celia tells her she doesn't need to do any of that. Seeing that, Alina snaps that Celia is a total hypocrite because she'd pulled the exact same stunt on her just a little while ago. As soon as the scream hits, Alba sparks up his lightning and vaults over the wall in a flash, finally getting a clear view of the girl's side of the hot spring. But that's not even the start. Right when the girls spot him with Celia, they erupt in screams as Celia hurls, "Pervert!" And Alice, still without her glasses, leans in, trying to make out whether Alba is totally naked. Alba tries to talk it out, claiming he only acted after that scream, but before he can get the words out, Alina hurls a wooden bucket, and it smacks him right in the face. As Alba crashes to the ground, Uli blurts out that he gets why he rushed over after that scream, but it's still not okay to sneak a peek. And straight up, he warns that zapping lightning near a hot spring is a huge no, because, besides Uli, everyone else drops dead cold from the shock. Alba shrugs off all that and can't stop thinking, does watching from the shadows even count as him pulling off the peaking event? Later, Yuli drops to her knees and apologizes the moment she realizes the whole commotion was Alice's doing, and she forces Alice to apologize too. Then Yuli adds, "The saintess I idolized was right in front of me. Like that alone explains everything." While Celia blames herself for screaming like that, Alba snaps that Alice is nothing but a troublesome girl. Alice says Alba is only jealous of the view she got, but he shoots that down immediately, only for Alina and Celia to refuse to buy it, turning hostile fast. And even though he's relieved their feelings are cooling, it still leaves a sting in his heart. Yuli then blurts out that the saintess means the world to them, right? As Celia snaps, "What are you talking about?" He tells them their old village is packed with legends about a hero who once protected the goddess of fate, and Alice chimes in that they've been taught her teachings since they were kids, so to them, the saintess isn't just a name, she's a whole reason they live. With that said, Alina snaps out that Alice is still clutching the chest of that same crucial person, and Alice shoots off another frantic apology. With everything finally settled, Euless steps in and says he's Alice's childhood friend. Then Celia and Alina jump in too, right as Alba watches their whole interaction unfold. It feels like Euless, the real hero, has already started flipping the story back to where it belongs. He just watches them chat in silence, and this strange feeling crawls up inside him, something he can't quite put into words. Then he strides off and tells them dinner is almost here, and when everyone nods along, they all break into motion and head straight there too. Alba snaps with himself, furious for getting jealous of Ulysse, and reminds his own heart he's the villain, not the hero. Afterward, the academy sets up a full dinner for everyone, and they dig in like it's the most delicious thing they've ever tasted. Just then, Alba spots someone's missing and shoots Celia a question. "Hey, have you seen Mina, the first year?" Celia asks if he means the girl she bumped into during lunch, then shakes her head and says she hasn't seen her. Alina's face turns deadly serious as she tells me her father dropped the bomb on her that very morning, something she could barely accept as real. Alba snaps, asking what she knows. Then Alina drops the bombshell that Mina's parents, the Lupica family's leaders, were brutally murdered. Meanwhile, at the Lupica estate, everything feels unnervingly silent, so all you can hear is Mina's sobs tearing through the quiet. She mourns her dead parents, crying out why it had to end like this and begging for someone to finally show up and save her, while Alina quietly reveals she's heard the killer is still out there, uncaught once Alba hears that. She can't shake the fear that it might be tied to his death flags. Because Mina's just a side character in the game, she's not supposed to get pulled into the main storyline. Then Celia blurts out that she wants them to do something for Mina, because that kind of grief is so brutal, it feels impossible to carry alone. Alina nods along, and Alba gets what Celia means too, because Celia has witnessed so many deaths that even her words cut straight to the truth. So he's sure his death flags aren't tied to that incident at all, and as Mina's friend, the promise he made to her, he's going all in, doing everything he possibly can to help her. A few months later, while Alba's dozing off in class, the teacher rockets chalk at him, snapping him back with a loud reminder that it's class time. Then Alba panics and apologizes. A month has already roared past since that field trip, and now it's June again, with his calm school life rolling on just like our world, Crayana Fantasy runs on 12 months a year, and its seasons are built to mirror a true Japanese way of life. The game spans 3 wild years of school life, and through every class the protagonist crushes. He levels up while the choices keep piling on, hitting you from every direction. You can pick your path, join a guild and blaze toward Adventure King, run the city's business and rise as Financial King, hunt legendary magic to become a great sage, or crack ancient mysteries until you earn the title of hero. As all the big players crowd into the hallway, Alba suddenly remembers something. Turns out you can romance the heroines too. But he refuses to chase any of those paths because fate has already chained him to one role, the villain, in every single route. He's convinced that no matter which path he picks, it'll steer him right into the exact same fate the game shows. Right when his thoughts start to swirl, Ulysses suddenly pops up behind him and rips the focus away, startling him out of his skin. With him standing by a wall, Ulysses snaps, "So what are you doing in a place like this?" And the biggest shock for Alba, she remembers Ulysses, the hero, will be the one to finally crush the villain. Right then, Celia grabbed Ulysses' arm and told Alba that Ulysses had topped the Holy Wolf group in the practical test. She couldn't believe it, while Ulysses shot back that it was nothing but a fluke. Even though the three of them look like they've bonded hard with Yuli, Alba still keeps her distance. Then he turns and walks off, saying he's glad for Ulysses, but openly admitting he messed up, leaving everyone staring in total confusion. Ulysses can't help but worry. He made Alba feel awful, like he was bragging, until Celia reassures him that Alba always eats his bento solo still. Alice shoots back that maybe Alba got jealous the moment Celia started praising Ulysses. Celia's caught off guard as she watches Alba storm out, and she can't help wondering, was he truly jealous after all? Meanwhile, Alina insists that if Alba really was jealous, it's just childish, but Alice thinks that take is way too harsh. Right then, Alina spots something huge, and Celia's like, "What's wrong?" Alina's eyes light up like she just unlocked a crucial memory, but she keeps it sealed behind her silence. Alba's convinced that the life he's living right now will keep him from ever turning into the villain the original Alba was in the game, so he dodges the main characters at every turn, then retreats into the mountains, shuts himself away, and spends all his time alone. Right then, someone slides up to him and asks, "So you're getting another nap in, or what?" The moment he opens his eyes and jerks himself upright, he locks onto Mina. Only Mina. It's been ages since they last saw each other, ever since her parents passed away. Then she shoots him a lunch invite, and since she's just a supporting character with zero connection to his death flag doom, he actually says yes. Since she isn't tied to his death flags, he's finally able to talk to her openly. No fears, no holding back, and it makes him feel insanely happy. After they're done eating, he brings up that he heard about her parents, and he makes it crystal clear he's right there for her no matter what. He leans in and reminds her of the promise he swore, telling her he'll help just like he said he would. Then her eyes light up as she thanks him from the bottom of her heart, thrilled she came to see him. Tears glimmering in her eyes, she breaks into a bright smile and says she just knew talking to him would lift her spirits. Right then, Celia bursts in, spots Mina, and the two break into a warm, instant greeting. Celia practically beams that Mina's there, then asks if she wants in on the invite too, and the second Mina asks what the invitation is, Celia. Celia tells them that after school, everyone's meeting at her place, she's throwing a party, and while Mina looks completely lost, Alba is even more baffled, staring like, for what, exactly? Later, they step inside and boom, the whole place explodes into a birthday party for Alba, with everyone blasting confetti and shouting birthday wishes at the top of their lungs. The shock hits him hard because it looks exactly like a birthday event from the game, one that triggers based on the date he entered when he made his profile. And on top of that, a beloved heroine shoots up to celebrate the player's birthday, only in his case, all 4 heroines show up together. And that date even lines up with his real birthday, so if he hadn't been reincarnated, he'd be spending it alone, without a soul in sight. Turns out Alina remembered his birthday falls on June 6th, and that little detail totally bugs Celia, because she's hearing about it for the very first time. Alice then presses him. Was he sulking back then because nobody wished him a happy birthday? Alina shrugs it off as childish, but Alba is totally stunned because he had no idea. Uli then blurts out an apology for showing up empty-handed, admitting he couldn't pull a present together on such short notice. Alina waves it off, smiling that she's just happy they all get to gather and celebrate Alba's birthday, while Celia snaps back that this is all Alba's own fault for never speaking up. Then Alice chimes in, basically like, wait, Alina knew it was his birthday the whole time, and you're still pulling that tsundere routine. And just like that, Alina's cheeks flare with embarrassment. Mina pushes past all that, pops her head in and says, I'm Mina Holybird Group. Then she bows and thanks everyone for letting her join in. Alice and Yuli step up and introduce themselves, and Alice says it's way more fun when everyone's together, and Mina practically beams as she thanks them for that. Alina lets out a breath of relief when she sees Mina doing fine, and Mina shoots back a heartfelt thanks. Alina then tells her the Persia family has the Lupaka family's back, so Mina can lean on them anytime she needs, and Mina accepts with pure, deep gratitude. Even though they've already crossed paths, Celia walks right up and reintroduces herself to Mina, and Mina thanks her again, like it's the first time. While everyone keeps chatting, Albus hangs back, determined to stay as far from the main characters as possible so he can avoid getting pulled into their chaos. While Celia watches him drift into his thoughts, she suddenly calls his name and tells him she's got something handled for him. Then she reveals a perfectly prepared birthday cake. Even though Alba hasn't changed his mind, he swears there are times when you just have to drop everything, sink into the moment, and let it take you. Celia steps up to him, tells him to make his wish and blows out the candle. Then he grins, shuts his eyes, and prays to live in peace forever, starting right now. Right before Celia can blow out the flame, she suddenly stumbles. Then the cake gets smashed straight into Alba's face. Everyone bursts into laughter as Celia, eyes brimming with tears, rushes in to apologize and wipes the cream off Alba's face. Moments later, when the sky is already fading into night, Alice and Yuli kick off toward their academy dorms, only for Alina to tag along too, since her estate sits right along the way. After the goodbye fades, Mina tells them she's taking the opposite route, and Alba promises to walk her home because after what happened to her parents, they're not taking any chances. When Celia watches Alba and Mina hit it off, she's convinced Alba's just genuinely kind to everyone, so she can't find a jealous bone in his behavior toward her. Just as they start to head off, Alba slams the brakes, turns to Celia, and demands she come with him, leaving her completely baffled. Then he blurts out that he's not about to leave her home by herself after all. He's her bodyguard, no exceptions. The second she hears it, her whole face lights up, and she barrels in after them, with a weird little laugh. Moments later, on the road, Alba quizzes Mina, "Are you home alone?" And Mina answers, "Not anymore. Each night has someone assigned to protect me." Hearing that, Alba lets out a huge breath of relief, and Celia tells Mina she's totally welcome to come visit them anytime she wants. Alba nods and adds, "If Mina ever ends up in trouble, you call me." And Celia jumps in too, promising, "I'll help as well." Mina hears it, freezes for a second like she's about to speak up. Then she suddenly stops, waves it off like it's nothing, tells them they've finally reached her estate, and thanks both of them before the moment even settles. And just like that, they part ways. Then on the ride back, Celia spots it instantly. Mina looked like she was about to blurt out something important. Alba sensed it too, but he's sure that if anything happened, she'd tell him because they're friends, and Celia agrees with. With everything settled, Alba asks if they should bolt straight home, and Celia nods, but snaps that it's already gotten dark. Alba hears her out, sparks lightning across his body, reassures her not to worry, and she's stunned by just how blinding it is. Then he grins and explains, it's not just light for show, it helps him spot suspicious presences, and he's already loving how useful that is. Right as the words leave his mouth, he feels a presence nearby, so he cranks up his lightning and snaps. Who's there? Celia is thrown off and blurts, what's wrong? But Alba keeps his guard up tight, then admits he felt like someone was watching them, even though Celia insists there's nobody around. Still, he keeps scanning the room, tense and searching, praying whoever did this hasn't slipped out already. But here's the twist. He hasn't gone anywhere at all. He's still out there, watching from a distance. Tracking Alba was a nightmare, because that colorless camouflage could hide her like she wasn't even there. That mysterious guy swears that if his sister, Yurit, were here, she'd call this exactly what you'd expect from a Kriana Academy kid still. He insists Alba and the others are just children. Once his face is finally revealed, he smirks and says they've got to wait a bit longer until the young lady's beast-making magic is fully ready. And when that moment finally hits, it's game over time to start their god-killing spree, telling the students to chase their dreams and squeeze every drop of youth out of their days until then. A few days later, the biggest night Kriana Academy has ever seen, Whispers of the Ruin is finally about to kick off. Since today is the sports festival, Celia storms up to the microphone and declares that the righteous power and spirit she learned at the academy will guide her. Then she swears she'll compete with honor. Right after she makes her declaration, she steps up and names herself Celia Margaret, the first-year representative of the Holy Horse Group. Then the principal steps up to the stage and says he can't wait to see every participating group level up, urging everyone to go all in and fight with everything they've got. In the game, you jump into the competition with the team you picked at the start, and if you win, the heroine's feelings for you rocket upward. Alba, also in the Holy Horse Group, has zero interest in winning, because he'll do anything to dodge his death flag, and then things go horribly wrong for him. Celia and Alina are absolutely fired up, both locked in, ready to dominate the competition and steal the win. Celia is buzzing because this is her first ever sports festival, while Alina is laser-focused on winning for the sake of the Persia family since Alba can't sway them. He just lets out a heavy sigh at how fired up they are. Then the two push Alba to get deadly serious about winning, and all he can do is nod along. At that moment, Alice from the Holy Wolf crew cuts in, snapping them, not to rush her team is going to take the win, and Yuli slams down the truth right after they're not going to lose. The three girls start bickering over who's going to win, and Alba drops the line that the protagonist always ends up victorious, which leaves Ulyss utterly baffled. Mina from the Holy Bird crew then swings her attention to Alba and vows she won't lose. She greets everyone like a spark in the dark. Alice grins and says she'll go all out, and Celia declares, "Today, we're all enemies." Alina pushes for a fair fight, and Mina nods right back, fully on board. Everyone nods along, and she declares she wants to make good memories. Then Ulyss hits pause and warns them that the Holy Bird crew is packing serious magical power, so they can't slack their guard for a second. Just as he says it, a girl behind them bursts into giggles out of nowhere, and it instantly shocks everyone. It turns out to be Lily from the Holy Bird group. She points at Mina and says she can feel a huge stash of magical power hiding in her, then blurts out that she's dying to know what kind of magic Mina's about to unleash. Right after that, she keeps laughing and strolls off, and Alba blurts at her to not just leave with that creepy laugh. Ulysses watches it all and thinks Alba's strange for knowing someone like her, while Alba smirks and says it's ironic, because in another future, he might have ended up with her. Right after that, Kate Sith steps up and declares he'll be steering the competition's progress and calling the action. Then he kicks things off by announcing the first event, a running race. In this race, it's simple, no magic allowed. This is pure stamina, no cheats. The second the announcement hits, Mina, Celia, and Alice line up, and their crew erupts, cheering them on. The second Kate Sith throws the signal, the whole crew explodes into motion. Alice rockets ahead. Mina and Celia slam right behind her. Then Alice grins and says she's this quick because she grew up racing Ulysse through the mountains. Alina scans the area and Alba's nowhere to be seen, so panic sparks in her chest until she realizes he's actually standing way out at the arena's edge. When he finally apologizes, he admits he's about to slack off, convinced it matters more to dodge his death flag than to chase a victory. Soon as the next competition kicks off, a wild magical battle erupts. Every team has to haul a giant glowing sphere with nothing but magic. Lily's sure she'll win this event for sure, while Alina's temper keeps spiking, demanding to know where Alba is, until even Celia finally snaps that this is taking way too long for him to still be stuck in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Alba stays perched on top of the arena like she owns the place, snacking, laughing to herself, and finding the whole rock's ridiculous look weirdly hilarious. Soon, the contest slams into its next event, a mock battle built to test pure strength. Alina snaps that everyone follow her lead, while Celia practically roars at Alba for still not showing up. Julie steps in, tells them not to be scared, and pushes them forward. Charge! Right as he says that, Kate Sith snaps her fingers and announces the truth. Those weapons are soft, magical sticks, and even if they hit you, all they'll do is numb you for a little while. So there's nothing to fear. Hearing that, Mina's nerves slam into her chest, and she blurts that they should just do everything they can to survive, while Lily admits she's basically helpless when it comes to weapons. The moment the battle kicks off, everything detonates into pure chaos. Everyone slams into everyone else, and a few fighters even start swinging their weapons at random. Up above, Alba peers down and immediately sees the whole chaos except for Ulysse and Alina. Everything else is a total mess as the fighting rages on, right in front of her. Uli says Alina's bigger-than-life aura is exactly what he expected, and you can hear the awe in his voice, while Alina fires back that sure, his skills aren't as polished as hers yet, but he more than makes up for it with insane natural talent. Alba realizes Ulysse is finally stepping up like a real protagonist after all. Battling Alina is one of the game's big moments that boosts her feelings for him. And the second that thought hits, he snaps out of it and remembers the rest of the story. First, the protagonist wins the heroine's heart. Then Alba rips her away in a cruel twist until the protagonist slams the villain down and rescues her for good. That's when the realization hits Alba. This is exactly how he's meant to meet his doom, and it makes him wonder if the hero and heroine get close like the original story planned. Does his death flag get triggered anyway? Then he snaps himself back to reality. This won't happen. I'm not that Alba from the game, and I'll never steal the protagonist's heroine. A few moments later, the scores for every team hit the screen, and Celia's face drops when she notices the Holy Horse group is dead last. Alina quickly snaps back, saying the last competition counts double, so they still have time to flip everything. Her comfort doesn't even last a second. Rage spikes as she snaps that Alba the delinquent still hasn't come back, and Celia only doubles down, calling him an idiot again, while Alba, right where he always sleeps, passes out. Kate Sith then slams down the last event, an obstacle race where the teams are mixed gender and the rules go wild. You can burn stamina, sling magic, and flex brute strength to barrel through every barrier and hit the finish. He starts calling out the reps, kicking things off with the Holy Horse crew. Alba and Celia's jaw drops because Alba's the one picked, and Alina instantly snaps. Find him right now. Next up, the Holy Wolf crew calls out Alice and Ulysse, and the whole place lights up with excitement. Then the Holy Bird group selects Mash and Lily. Lily rolls her eyes, but Mash stammers out that he'll do his absolute best. While everyone scrambles for Alba, Kate Sith storms straight to him and snaps that he can't keep slacking off, so Alba gets shoved back into his group and immediately gets roasted with scolding and boos all around. But no matter how hard they push, he still has zero plans to win. Kate Sith suddenly declares, "Girls, grab the baton and push through every obstacle. Go reach your partners." While the boys handed the baton have to slam through their own obstacles and sprint to the finish after the rules are explained, he tells everyone to get ready and flashes the signal. The race explodes into motion, and as the starting signal hits, all three girls bolt forward together, while their partners scream and cheer them on like it's do or die. Alba doesn't cheer. He can't help feeling a sting of sadness, yet he refuses to quit, determined not to win. Right then, the first obstacle snaps to life as a magic circle blooms across the ground. As the spell kicks on, a swarm of hands bursts from the circle, and because Alice is already ahead, she's the first one snared. Kate Sith tells Alice that the magic circle traps its enemies with magical hands, and Alice is so horrified she can't stand it. While Celia panics and desperately dodges every reach, Lily just freezes in place, calls the obstacle cheap, and starts chanting her counterspell. She calls up 4 elemental spirits at once. Each one swats aside a swarm of hands, carves out a clean path, and leaves Kate Sith absolutely stunned. Alba's impressed, too, mumbling that it's not bad until Euless snaps in fast. No, it's way more than that. He says everyone is born with hidden magic strengths and tells you the hard truth. If fire's your gift, water is usually the thing that trips you up. Lily can wield all 4 basic elements at once and control them with effortless precision. It's so unbelievable it almost feels like a lie. Hearing that, Alba nods like it's perfectly made for one of the heroines. Then she watches the display, and the other girls get the message fast. They're allowed to use magic, too. Alice refused to get left in the dust, so she snapped her beast transformation magic into action. In the blink of an eye, she morphs into a cat, wriggles out of the spellbound grip, and bolts ahead as Kate Sith practically loses it, cheering the whole scene. Alba goes, "Wait!" Because in the game, Alice was the heroine who specialized in nasty, tricky magic. Then he leans toward Yuli and asks if she's about. Back then, she could have dodged the chimera's capture if she'd used that spell. Euless just awkwardly laughed and nodded along. Celia snaps into action, chanting her own holy magic to break through the obstacle. Once her chant hits its final note, she summons sacred holy light that wipes out every last remaining hand. In an instant, Alba beams and praises her, saying she absolutely nailed it. Lily slams into her partner, grabs the mash and shoves him the baton. Then he rockets forward on the spot, officially kicking off the boys' leg of the race. The second the boys launch their race, a new magical trap snaps to life, and a towering golem crashes into the fight. Kate Sith calls it the Iron Giant Shocking Mesh, and Alba immediately clocks it as a major roadblock. Yuli's assessment snaps into place the same way. Kate Sith rallies the boys to push through, but Mash panics and throws in the towel. Then Alice whips her baton over to Yuli, and she explodes into motion at insane speed. As Alba watches him, she clocks the same kind of movement Euless had during their chimera fight, and it hits her hard, as Euless's insane physical talent powered by magic. Lily pops up right beside him and blurts out that this is only the first stage enhancement. She claims it drinks in kinetic energy from another dimension, siphons it straight into the user's power, and forges a body that gets stronger as their skill grows. As she wraps up her explanation with a giggle, Alba can't help but think every time the conversation drifts to magic, she lights up like she's suddenly bursting with energy. Right when the golem swings in, Yuli slips the hit in a blur, vaults over the attack, and then there it is, in her eyes. Alba remembers that this first stage power-up was already in the game, and it's the real secret fueling Ulysses' strength. Lost in his own head, Celia finally catches up and rushes out an apology for being late. But Alba doesn't grab the baton or start running at all. She just freezes there. Seeing it happen, Alina snaps at him to snap out of it, screaming that if they lose, she'll expose his real identity to everyone. Alba freezes in shock, and he freezes for a split second, then realizes he can't let his cover get blown. The moment it clicks, he fires up his lightning power and rockets off into the distance. Even as Celia finally exhales, the other students crowd in and start grilling Alina, demanding to know Alba's real identity. Alba rockets forward like lightning, slams into the golem, and smashes clean through it. Uli heard the thunderous impact, snapped his eyes back, and when he saw Alba closing in, he locked onto the finish line again because it was finally right within reach. Before Ulysse even dares to cross it, Alba rockets past the finish line first and leaves every heroine stunned. He slams the brakes so hard that a gigantic cloud of dust explodes around him. Uli clicks his tongue and berates himself for not going harder, but the moment he measures Alba's strength, he can't deny it. Now he's starting to see him as a real rival. Alba, though, is anything but happy about his own victory. Later, Kate Sith steps up and blasts out the final results. Holy Horse Group are crowned first-year champions. Celia and Alina explode with pure joy. Alice swings her sword of confidence and vows she won't lose next time, while Lily laughs and admits she had a blast, because watching that wild, mind-blowing magic up close was pure joy. Mina is absolutely thrilled she just carved out so many amazing memories. Meanwhile, Alba is still totally clueless, completely unaware that the sports festival just lit the fuse for the next big disaster. Meanwhile, the people who summoned the chimera during the students' field trip stood back and watched the chaos unfold from a safe distance. With the competition drawing to a close, one of them leans in and asks Sister, "So is it finally time to kick off the plan?" The woman gives a confident nod and says it straight. Ragnarok's mission is to hunt down and kill the gods.